It is 10 o'clock. Welcome in. This is Three Man Front, Jocks 94.5. Great radio stations up in Huntsville, Alabama. The UMP, AM 740, Jocks 740 in the capital city of Montgomery. Welcome into the program. Conrad off today and tomorrow. He'll be back with us on Monday. Me, myself, and I, along with Molly and Landrum.
What?
I don't know what. I'm kind of freaked out by the fact that we've got the shade pulled up. So people can actually, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the wonderful landscape of overlooking the mountain here in Birmingham.
Everything is so green right now, Pat.
That's what happens when you just got a thunderstorm.
Spring has sprung.
It was a toad strangler up here on top of the mountain.
Yeah, it was. We had a little bit of flash flooding coming down the hill.
Yeah, very much so. But we have got plenty to talk about today. We're going to talk to Scott Hamilton, Rodney Orr, Rob Pate, David Smoke, Eli Craner, all those on the program. But we want to start with some sad news to report on this program. And I know you talked to Coach Sanderson last night, but yesterday afternoon, his wife passed away. She was 86 years old. And I know that Wimp has been dealing with a lot the last year or so in regards to his wife's health, and got the terrible news yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, Miss Annette, and just a wonderful, wonderful lady, and she went to be with the Lord yesterday, and talking with the coach, and obviously he's grieving, and they've been together for so long. But if you get a moment today, if you get some time, if you could just lift up your thoughts and your prayers to not only Coach Sanderson but also the entire family. She was a wonderful, wonderful human being.
She was 86 years old. She was born in Florence, Alabama. She attended Coffee High School, where she met Wimp. They got married in October following her senior year in high school. They were married for 67 years. The Celebration of Life service is going to take place at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, May the 7th at University Church of Christ in Tuscaloosa. Visitation will be from 9:30 to 11 a.m. A graveside service at 4 p.m. will follow at Florence City Cemetery up in Florence, Alabama. So, Coach, always think about you,
Yep.
and our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family of the loss of your wife yesterday. So,
Love you, Coach.
yep, terrible news, and we're thinking of you. So, just wanted to share that with the audience because we all go through certain things in life, and one thing I can tell you is that Coach Wimp Sanderson, when he comes on the show on Fridays, no matter what is going on, he brings that gregarious, wonderful, humorous, great attitude to the radio show, and we can't thank him enough because
He practices what he's preached for so long.
Absolutely. And I know you've known Coach personally for much longer than I have, but I know he has meant a lot to you in your career.
Yes, he has, and he taught me a lot. And just getting to know he and his wife Annette, and just the people that they were. You know, you have these notions, these preconceived notions of watching someone from afar. And me growing up, it was watching him on the sidelines at Coleman Coliseum and in SEC basketball. But then getting to know him as an individual, and the family dynamic, and how much he loves the family, and Miss Annette, she will sure be missed.
So, Coach Wimp Sanderson, just want to let you know we are thinking about you and your family. Today on the program, we will continue to dive into this Bill Belichick situation, because it just, watching and reading how the nation is just captivated by this. And we talked about this yesterday, how it's amazing that, I know we follow this on a minute-by-minute basis when it comes to sports, but so many people across the country are just now finding out that Bill Belichick, 73-year-old, is dating a 24-year-old. And
I feel like we've been on this one for a while.
We have.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to be, not weird that he's, well,
Yeah, it's weird. It's
you know
weird.
what I'm saying?
It's weird.
In some cultures, it's not. In ours, it is.
Yeah, but the fact that most of America are just now like honing in on this, you know?
Right.
But
like, wait a minute. He's not married? No. Okay, well.
That's his granddaughter, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No.
No.
Is that his daughter's friend? No. She's too young to be his daughter's friend. That's 73 and 24.
Yeah. So there's some interesting stories that came out yesterday afternoon that we'll get into a little bit later in the program.
Do you think that this is a slow train wreck? Do you think that the dumpster has been lit there in Chapel Hill, or do you think this fizzles out and goes away?
No, I think it's here for a while.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I think this has legs.
Mm-hmm.
This will
And
go
she
for a
does
while.
not strike me right now as someone, Molly. I don't know why I'm turning to you for this.
I don't know
It's
either.
not because you're 24 and a female, but she does not. It's really not. But she does not strike me as someone who is going to step back. It feels like that she's going to dig in with both feet.
No, she's very vocal. We've seen on her Instagram. Remember, she's Miss Hancock County. There's a lot of baggage that comes with that too.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yep. Well, just go do your research. Hancock County.
Those crazy Maine people.
The only thing worse is
The
being from Bangor.
Mainsters. Auburn basketball,
They write
they're going to get
themselves. Yep, they do.
they're going to get a visit this weekend. Big man James Scott, he is scheduled to visit the Auburn Tigers this weekend. The 6'10" big man played at Charleston and Louisville in his first two college seasons. He appeared in 70 games for the Cougars and Cardinals so far in his career. He's averaging right at 6 points per game, almost 5 rebounds, 1 block a game, 1 assist in 70 games. So that's one of those big presence guys that we talked about that could add depth. But 6'10" from Louisville, we'll see if him and Auburn are a match.
Oh, you're replacing 6'10" Janai Broome, who could do so many things. 6'11" Dylan Cardwell, who wasn't, he was so good on the defensive end and just altering shots and blocking shots and that team guy. But Tahad Pettiford, and it is believed that he's going to come back. But and then that was after speaking with someone yesterday, and he's just going through the process. But he'll be the only Auburn Tiger from this year's team returning now that Cheddar Bacon Lasagna has made his residence back on the West Coast. So having those guys, how prominent a James Scott, but if you have a 6'11" and a 7 foot that they've already gotten out of the portal to add to the complement pieces with an Elijah Freeman coming in at 6'8", I'm going to be very interested to see him. He was very good at the Division II level. Some JUCO guys, some young guys, and some other guys via the portal. This is going to be a different look Bruce Pearl team, but we saw that this year. That this team and the way that they played basketball, he's going to do things that are going to fit his guys, which most really good basketball coaches do. It's not, hey, here's my system, let's hope that you can do it. So it'll look different, but I think Auburn fans should be excited.
So we knew that Pettiford and LeBaron Fallon had said that they were going to be in the NBA draft. Well, the official paperwork was filed yesterday. And so Pettiford and Fallon both are officially in the NBA draft. Now, here's some dates to kind of just make a mental note of. You've got a G League Combine coming up on May 9th through 11th. And if you remember last year, Janai Broome, he participated in a lot of these combines. Then you've got an NBA Combine on May 11th through the 18th. Then you have the NBA draft lottery, which is May the 12th. And then the deadline to withdraw. So you can go through this whole process because you remember last year, Janai Broome really turned a lot of heads in these combines, and there was a lot of talk about him. But he was not happy with where his draft slot was going to be, so he elected to come back to Auburn and get a payday in college. But the withdrawal deadline for whether it's Phylon or Pettiford or anybody else is May the 28th. So you can go through the entire process and get all the data that you want to, be a participant in the combines and all those type things, and then make an ultimate decision. But you have until May the 28th in order to maintain your college eligibility.
Yeah. And I like that they did this several years ago. I wish that, and I know we have a lot of leeway now for student athletes, especially the elite ones, with NIL and the transfer portal. But for the sake of what just happened this past weekend, do you almost wish that they would do this for the NFL draft, where you reserve the right, you can come back? That would put, there's a whole lot of other dynamics that would play into it.
Yeah.
And that would put some coaches in flux as far as roster management and possibly going and getting if you're Colorado, if you're going to go and you're going to get the elite quarterback from the previous year and pay him a whole lot of money to come in. How do you handle that? But for some of these guys that choose to go to the NFL and they don't get drafted, or they get drafted in the 6th, 7th round, they're projected to be a 1, 2, or 3. I wish we could get them back for another year of college football.
Yeah, but there's plenty of options. You have to be invited to the G League Combine, and most people believe that Pettiford and Phylon. Both will be invited to that. And then you've got the NBA Combine, which they'll be invited to that as well. So they'll be able to get as much data as you possibly could find and make a decision. And you've got a month, basically to figure all this out. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Again, Auburn is hosting this weekend James Scott, the 6'10" big man from Louisville. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, as we know, based on today, that spring weather in Alabama can be really unpredictable. So that's why you need the reliability of a Trane, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand. And right now you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Trane home comfort systems. So to find out more, go and visit Trane.com.
Just when you thought it was going to get quiet on the Bill Belichick front, the New York Post has a bombshell story that comes out yesterday afternoon. We find out a little bit more about her family and about her job's occupation, her mom's occupation. Very interesting. We'll get into that next on 3 Man Front. So coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll go to Charleston, South Carolina. Scott Hamilton is going to join the show, and we're going to get his thoughts. He is longtime journalist in the Carolinas, long time in Charlotte, throughout North Carolina and South Carolina. He was also at the Dawn Staley statue presentation in Columbia, South Carolina yesterday.
Beautiful statue.
It was fantastic. I loved it. It was fantastic. So he will join us at the bottom of the hour to talk about this Bill Belichick situation. I made a reference to a story that I know many of you probably saw on social media. If not, I'm just going to share a couple of interesting notes from this New York Post story. And this New York Post story came out with the headline that says how Jordan Hudson, 24, amassed $8 million real estate portfolio within months of meeting Bill Belichick. So as you can imagine, it kind of details the fact that, okay, within months of the fisherman's daughter meeting the 73-year-old ex-Patriots head coach, according to property records, Hudson, 24 years old, bought 3 multifamily homes across the Boston area in December of 2023 for about $7.5 million, inking millions of dollars in mortgage payments within days, documents reviewed by Realtor.com show. Just 2 months earlier, Hudson dropped $610,000 on a cottage in the scenic Cape Cod town of Harwich, which she listed as her home address on the mortgage documents. Revelations about Hudson's 7-figure real estate portfolio came after an awkward Belichick interview with CBS News left many wondering how much control she has over the superstar coach. Friends of Belichick previously told the New York Post that they were shaking their heads after Hudson cut off the interviewer's question about how the couple met to declare, "We're not talking about that." First reported by the DailyMail.com, Hudson's real estate portfolio suggests she managed to grow her net worth since she met Belichick. Hudson's properties include a $2.2 million Dorchester townhouse that was bought with a $1.2 million mortgage in December of 2023. The home is split into 3 apartments. One 4-bed currently rents for about $5,000 per month and appears to have undergone extensive interior renovations, according to Realtor.com. And the very same day she signed that mortgage, she then turned around and took out another mortgage of $1.2 million on a second townhouse that she bought for $2.3 million in June of 2023. So she has been very active.
To be 24 and have millions in real estate, I wish.
How many $1 million real estate properties do you currently have in your portfolio, Molly?
Only a few.
Only a few.
I'll say this: it seems like a really good investment, and not knowing anything can happen in that relationship. Yeah, go ahead and sink your money into something with your name on it.
Her third major property she purchased in December of 2023, just 2 days later, for $3 million.
Oh.
I mean, we're not talking about a couple
She's
$100,000.
diversifying, Pat.
Okay. So I just read you up to the point of the story that probably bored a lot of people. But now I'm going to get to the part of the story that is absolutely, if you're driving your car.
That actually fascinated me.
I understand that I-65 South is a parking lot right now. Patrick Isbell from 18 South, he stopped by, say hello to us, and he told us that it was an absolute parking lot. So if you're in the parking lot on I-65 right now, I hate that you're going through that, but hopefully you're listening to us, because you need to have both hands on the steering wheel, because I'm about to read you the next part from the New York Post. I'm reading this directly. This is not me making this up. This is not Landrum and I embellishing the facts.
Nope.
This is real.
This is real.
Real
This is
news.
real.
And this, at the heart of what we do, I know sometimes it's hard to decipher. Our job is to deliver you the news.
We try to inform first and entertain.
That's it.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
We're about to do both in about a 20-second span. Here's the next portion of the New York Post story. No, you need to leave your mic on.
Leave it on.
You need to leave your mic on.
We all have to leave it on.
Okay.
Hudson was raised in Hancock, Maine.
Woo!
First of all,
There's the first laugh.
I can't even get over that one. All right.
2 parents who ran a fishing business that went bankrupt after their fishing grounds were closed in 2000.
That's unfortunate.
That was a lot of hard times
Yeah.
up there for a lot of them.
Next line of the story. Her mother eventually moved to Provincetown on Cape Cod,
Beautiful.
where she manages a sex toy shop and museum.
There it is.
One more time.
Her mother eventually moved to Provincetown on Cape Cod, where she manages a sex toy shop and museum.
Okay.
So,
lot to unpack here.
wait, can we just, the shop is attached to the museum?
See, that's what I'm wondering. Or is it
So-
separate?
Is it like a museum and that's the gift shop?
That's what I'm wondering too.
So, on my own laptop, not the company-owned laptop
That's a
or
good call by you.
computers.
You saved me because I
Yeah,
was about to
'cause-
just go searching away.
Yeah, you're about to go searching away, and I said, no, don't do that, buddy. I care about you. I more care about Dorothy than you. I don't care about you, but I just didn't want Dorothy to be on the streets.
That still counts. Thank
Good
you.
call.
So, so I did it on my laptop using my own.
Because your laptop's used to it.
No, it's not. I just wanted to make sure. I mean, we just went through training like 2 days ago,
I know.
so I wanted to make sure
Yes.
that we were
Good
all
call.
properly covered. I am not a Book of Face person. Like, I do not have an account.
I don't either.
I don't do Facebook.
I
Like,
don't either.
my wife has to tell me,
Yeah, same.
hey, it's so-and-so's birthday today. You need to send them a text.
I had to
because
call. I had to call family members about a year ago, and I just called my sister, and we went down an entire list of family birthdays, and I had to put them into my phone.
Yeah.
Because that's how I used to keep up with
See,
it.
and I go on Facebook once a year, and it's for my birthday because a lot of my relatives will still use it to wish me a happy
Right.
birthday. And I want to make sure they're not being ignored.
So unless you're on Twitter or Instagram, or TikTok, I'm not out there. So I don't know what's going on Facebook.
Or chat
But-
snap.
So I did a search on this Provincetown sex toy shop and museum,
Here we go.
and this is what popped up on my interweb. It's called Toys of Eros or Eros, Eros.
Okay, it's with an E. Okay.
Okay.
And this is what it says on their Facebook page.
I'm just gonna. If you think I'm safe, just type in arrows.
I don't know. They have not posted since February the 12th. By the way.
Oh, it's in reference to a concept in ancient Greek philosophy referring to sensual or passionate love,
All right.
Yeah, Eros was the Greek god of.
and that's
Okay.
the
all
term
that.
you go.
erotic is derived
Oh.
from eros.
All right. I'm learning all this stuff from Landrum today.
This is educational, folks.
I did not pay attention in sex education class, obviously. in high
Apparently, I
school.
didn't either.
So Toys of Eros is one of the most fun and fascinating stores in P-Town.
P-Town.
Visit our sex museum, meet our great sales educators, and play with our toys.
What?
I'm reading the Book of Face.
Oh, man.
So this is where her mom supposedly works, according to the New York Post. It's the most fun and fascinating store in P-Town. Visit our museum.
So do they have like demo day, like you have it, like you go to the driving range and
Yeah,
you
it's
got
a-
the club manufacturers that are there.
Oh, here's a used
Like-
club. Yeah, it's 20% off today.
Hey, try our new driver. Let me swing it a little bit.
So visit the museum, meet our great sales educators, and play with our toys.
And is she the curator?
I do not know.
She's the manager.
That's what New York Post says.
Okay.
I'm on this Book of Face, and
But-
I'm not seeing.
I have a propensity when I travel, I like to go to museums, especially if I'm working an event and you get a little bit of downtime, then you can either take an Uber or just walk down the street. I've been to a lot of museums that I typically would not go to, just traveling around.
Mhm.
I don't think I would go to this one. Actually, I know I would not go to this one, but
I
I'm
wouldn't either.
curious, like this type of museum, I have a good idea of what could be in there, but is it like the stages, the evolution of sensual gadgets
I don't
from
know.
like prehistoric days?
So I clicked on the photos section of their Facebook page. They apparently were big supporters of Kamala Harris.
Okay. That's their right.
And some very interesting pictures that I will not describe.
All right. Let me see if I can. Can you Can you turn your laptop this? Oh, goodness gracious. What?
Let's see. What else you want to see?
I was thinking you were to show me an object.
Think there's a few people like doing a search right now on this.
Oh, I think it's more than a few.
Do you think that was needed in the story? No, I'm being serious. Like if you're an editor and you're sitting there writing the story about her financial portfolio.
Yeah.
Now I'm not being critical. I'm just asking a question.
No, I think it is important because she has been thrust.
Oh, what?
There's just no way to do it.
She has been
thrown into the limelight.
I like the word thrust.
There we go.
She's all the words I could have used. She's been thrown into the spotlight, and a lot of people are just trying to catch up. And it's like Brent Venables talking about trying to drink through a fire hose, right? We are trying to gather all we can about this Jordan Hudson woman. And I think it is important to know because up until yesterday, we didn't know if her dad, who was a fisherman, we didn't know if he was lost at sea, her background. Now we know a little bit. This is, oh, goodness gracious. What is that?
I'm scared.
What is that?
You don't know what that is?
Wait, do you even know which one I'm looking at?
I was assuming you were looking at that.
No, I was looking at the thing that looks like a weapon. What's the third one?
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
That is a remote gadget.
Okay. What?
There's a.
What?
Nothing.
Keep showing. Turn it
I
up.
don't think you want to.
No?
No.
No, I do now.
No.
Come on, I can handle it.
I don't think so.
If you're saying I don't think so, then it's got to be really bad.
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is. This is actually on their store website. This is not their book of face. Okay.
Hi, are you Jordan's mom?
How many people you think has gone in there in P-Town?
Can we get back to the museum? Because I'm just curious, how much stuff could you put in a museum when it comes to this?
See, if you look at that picture, it's kind of like you describe, I mean, based on the limited number of photos that they have, it appears that it is a regular store and perhaps they have maybe some antique items that would demonstrate the history of these objects.
Because I bring it up sometimes. The state of Texas has their state penitentiary museum, and they have some of the since retired execution, either the chair or other things that were used back when that form of punishment was allowable by law. And they have exhibits that you can walk by. And the one thing that I just saw from the museum, it looked like you would see at a typical museum, but it was obviously something else. It looked like something that would be used if you were pouring concrete.
They give a little explanation on the museum.
Okay.
It says, when you're walking Commercial Street in Provincetown and you decide to enter our store, the first thing you'll see is the Provincetown History of Sex Museum. It's a record of the fascinating, amusing, and sometimes horrifying history of humankind and our relationship towards sex. There is a 5,000-year-old something that's on display. Yeah, that's all I can read.
So, what do your parents do? Well, Dad used to be a fisherman.
That's a honorable profession.
They closed down our fishing hole. So Mom, and all of her entrepreneurial spirit, opened up a store in P-Town. Really? What kind of store was
Do
it?
they really call it P-Town?
What was it? What kind of store is it? Oh. New
York Post.
They're look, kudos to whoever put that together, New York Post. I appreciate it because I want to know. I'm hooked. This is the perfect time of year for this story to come out.
Because you're looking for vacation spots for museums? Is that what you're looking for?
No. I'm saying this in the news cycle right now until somebody screws up. This is actually got me captivated a little bit.
Yeah.
Not the museum so much.
When we come back on Three Man Front, we're going to be joined by Scott Hamilton from the Charleston Post-Courier. We'll talk a little Bill Belichick, Don Staley's statue, and some other musings around the world of sports in the Southeastern Conference footprint. All that coming up next on Three Man Front. It is 10:34, Jocks 94.5 on a rainy Thursday. Welcome back into the show. Pat Landrum, Molly with you. Conrad off to the beach. He'll be back with us on Monday. Speaking of the beach, let's go to a wonderful part of the world, Charleston, South Carolina, where our next guest resides. Scott Hamilton joins us from the Charleston Post-Courier. Just a quiet week covering North Carolina football with Bill Belichick and the rest of the Carolinas, right?
The ACC, baby. They can't give us good football, but they can give us some really good soap operas. How about that? Melrose Place in Chapel Hill.
Scott, I was telling Pat, this is actually a great time in the news cycle for what we do in talking about sports for this story to land, because if this story comes out in the middle of college football season, I'm not really paying that much attention to it. But I'll be honest with you, man, I'm kind of captivated. How about you?
Well, okay, let's think about this. The NFL is wonderful at doing what? Staying relevant.
Yeah.
And staying in the news cycle during the off season. You have the combine, you have the draft, you have all the schedule reveal. And who's at the center of this? The greatest coach in NFL history. He knows how to stay in the news. So he's got this situation going on, and I hate to admit this because you know I'm a grown man,
right?
Presumably, but I love it,
yeah.
Especially since they got rid of Days of Our Lives and all the soap operas. Now I've got this, and I'm good.
All right, so let's talk about this seriously. Do you think this is a distraction for the football program? Do you think North Carolina knew what they were getting into when they signed him, or are they just finding out in real time, as we are, in regards to everything about his 24-year-old girlfriend?
As far as the football program, I don't know. I mean, my first thought is that they are going to operate in a silo. They're probably having conversations amongst themselves, the assistant coaches and the players and all that. But at the end of the day, I think they're able to focus on football. And again, it's not like it's in the middle of the season, so that's helpful. The school, though, the school's got to be blindsided. I mean, they had to think they were getting, other than that guy who used to work down in your part of the country, they had to think they were getting the most controllable product out there. That being Bill Belichick, a guy who's always got his hands wrapped around things. And instead, they're getting just something totally out of left field. I mean, did any of you ever expect Bill Belichick's personal life to make headlines like this?
No. It was in with his past relationship, and I forget, she was a lovely lady that he was with for 15 years. I know that they weren't married. It was pretty mundane, pretty normal. But for this to happen, and now to do the deep dive, Scott, and to find out some of the family history and real estate and when it was acquired, how it was acquired, where it was acquired, there's so many more questions that I have.
Yeah, I mean, look, the UNC. First of all, his hiring was a mess. That divided the university. There were power plays. It was theater as well. But at the end of the day, the North Carolina trustees, they thought they were getting what they could get to become SEC football. They wanted SEC football, so they thought what they were getting was just an out of touch 73-year-old coach to run their program, and what they got is a over her head 24-year-old social media influencer. And they say they're the 33rd NFL team. Well, that means they're more dysfunctional than the Jaguars or the Browns. and I'm serious. And what we saw in 60 Minutes, I mean, this wasn't 60 Minutes. This was CBS Sunday Morning. This was a fluffy, hey, let's have our coffee and fun. It wasn't like Mike Wallace with a sheaf of incriminating documents, you know. It was a soft landing spot where all he had to do was say what they said. We met on a plane, if indeed that's true. But for some reason, it took it off the rails. It was uncomfortable, man. It was uncomfortable.
If you're the interviewer, and I forgot who he was with CBS, even though they put that in the email and you've read through it, do you still ask that question? Because I do.
I do. I am shocked by all of this, man. And for her to go on Instagram, I mean, should we be making like a mental wellness check on him? Social services should get involved. Is this elder abuse? I mean, why would she? Why and on what planet is it okay for not only your girlfriend to post a personal email, but your quote unquote business manager, Belichick Enterprises or whatever? Why is it okay for her to go public with this email on Instagram? Just horrible. Horrible. I'm worried about the dude. I really am. Barkley's worried about him too. Did you hear what he said on his podcast?
I did hear him say that he's been a big fan of Bill Belichick, been a good friend of his, but he feels like Coach Belichick's going down a slippery slope, and he's worried about him.
I mean, what does this do to somebody's legacy? Because look, it didn't end well in New England. It didn't end well. But at the end of the day, that's not what people are going to remember. I mean, the end of Don Shula in Miami wasn't great either. But what we would remember were the Super Bowls and just having a program that ran or a franchise that went across a certain blueprint that he himself created. And it was the greatest run in the history of the NFL. I'll throw it out there. I'm not a fan, but it was the greatest run in the history of the NFL. But now we've got this circus, and that's what people are going to go away from. It's tainting his legacy the further this goes on.
All right, Scott, you have covered North Carolina athletics for a long time, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to make an assumption here, but based on my coverage of the Southeastern Conference and the times that we have kind of cohabitated with our ACC brethren, it appears that North Carolina folks, whether it's basketball or football, lacrosse, soccer, whatever the case may be, that they're a pretty arrogant bunch. Is that safe to say that North Carolina is probably one of the most arrogant, if not the most arrogant in the ACC?
Well, they don't call the folks at Arkansas or Starkville the wine and cheese crowd, do they? That's what they call them in Chapel Hill.
Okay.
The wine and cheese crowd. Show up late, leave early.
All right. The reason I ask you that is because that is another thing that is just bizarre about this whole story is Bubba Cunningham, a very well-respected athletics director, and the way they do things at North Carolina, going out and hiring Bill Belichick, even before we knew all of this about this 24-year-old girlfriend, it just seemed like a very odd fit. Kind of take us there and the people that you talk to. Why did they go down this road to get Bill to begin with?
Well, he did not want Belichick. Bubba didn't want Belichick. Remember that. That's where the board of trustees, certain members of the board of trustees went rogue. And they started working to deal with Belichick ahead of that. They had a couple of other guys on their list. Arthur Smith, former North Carolina Tar Heels, an alum, offense coordinator for the Steelers. They wanted him. But Bubba was passed over by the board of trustees because they wanted Belichick. They wanted to make a splash. North Carolina, like the rest of the ACC, is panicking. They want to be a player in football. They don't want to be left behind. They want to be able to make a splash. And they thought by getting a brand like Bill Belichick, you're going to get credibility for football. You're going to be presumably a better program. And that would also presumably create a landing spot for the next round of realignment. But at the rate we're going, man, woo!
Yeah, and Scott, when you look at the situation of Deion going out to Colorado, none of this, and there was a lot there, and some would call it a circus atmosphere at times, but it was mostly centered around football, the program, the transfer portal, maybe his sons, maybe a comment to a reporter every now and then. But now with Bill Belichick, you've got another individual who seems to be running things, stepping on toes with people who are paid to do things there at North Carolina that she's overstepping her bounds, as you said, and in above her head. I don't know if I'm North Carolina, as much as you've invested, as much as you want to win, I have to think that there's some people in some high places at that university, a proud university, that are probably keeping a very close eye on this. And I don't know if this ends well.
I don't know that it does either. I really don't, unless they get their arms around this and they have the greatest spin doctor in the history of spin doctors on retainer ready to fix this. I don't see how this ends well unless he goes out and wins 12 games this year, which not going to happen. I mean, they have a super soft schedule, but that's not going to happen. I don't see this going beyond a year. I really don't, because to your point, the Deion stuff was all football related at the end of the day. It was all football related and the business of football. But this is eclipsed things, man. This has gone from ESPN and Fox Sports to TMZ and the National Enquirer. I mean, this is not cool territory. And knowing how those people are at Chapel Hill, knowing how the university is operated, Dean Smith, for God's sakes, think about that. This is where he made his mark. They have to be twisting right now and looking for parachutes and exits for if this thing keeps going as the way it's going.
Scott, before we let you go, I understand that you were there on the scene in Columbia, South Carolina for the Don Staley statue unveiling. I think it was cool. I think the whole thing is, I thought the design, the likeness, everything about it. Just your take and thoughts on that unveiling yesterday in Columbia.
The statue is wonderful. I wish Don Staley were my neighbor. I'm not a fan, I'm in the media, I'm in the middle, but I think Don Staley's a wonderful woman, a wonderful individual. And what's really cool about the statue is where it's positioned, and it's facing away from the State House dome, and that's where the Confederate flag flew up until 2000, and then they moved it to the grounds of the State House in about 10 years later. But I think it's just cool because it's almost like, she brought so much change to Columbia and to the state of South Carolina and to other parts of sports and society in general. But it's almost now like the dome, the State House is trying to keep up with her instead of the other way around. It's like, what's she going to do next? They got to be on their toes because of the way she's really helping society come together.
Our friend Scott Hamilton. Scott, great stuff. I'm guessing this will not be the last time. Well, it won't be the last time that we talk to you, but last time that we talked to you about this particular situation with Coach Belichick and his young entrepreneurial soulmate.
I've got other thoughts, but we'll have to have that for the three-man front after dark special podcast.
There you go.
We're dialed in for that. You just say when, brother.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Appreciate y'all.
See ya.
Appreciate you. Scott Hamilton, all of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
I talk about them every day on this program. Alabama Professional Services. They can do so much for you as a homeowner. How about termite control and extermination, mosquitoes, those common house pests, animal removal and control? They can do all that. Since 1977, APS, they've helped the homeowners solve the most challenging insect pests and rodent problems, from targeted pest control for those termites and rodents and more to prevention and protection. They also do basement waterproofing, crawl space repair. I talk about the crawl space encapsulation system that they have, the foundation repair. They can level up your driveway, your sidewalk. They can fix those cracks in your foundation of your home. They can do all that by a simple phone call at 205-951-9717 or go to alabamaprofessional.com and you can take a look at all the services they offer you as a homeowner. One call will do it all for you. That is APS 205-951-9717.
Well, it was just a matter of time. The wife of Steve Belichick has offered her 2 cents. You're going to hear it next.
Coming up at the top of the hour, Rodney Orr from Tiger Insider, his weekly visit. We'll talk to him about no transfer portal movement in regards to players leaving Alabama, now officially closed. Alabama did get some tight ends out of the portal. We'll get his thoughts on that coming up. But Landrum, you understand that you've come across some information from one of the Belichick boys.
Bill Belichick's son, Steven, his wife, Jennifer, and she goes by Jennifer Schmidt. And she had a response to a lot of the back and forth and a lot of podcasts and people that are writing stories about this. And there was a couple of former New England players that kind of came to Coach Belichick's defense anyways. But Jennifer Schmidt comes out and she responds based on the CBS interview. And she said, publicists act in a professional manner and they don't storm off set delaying an interview. And basically stopped there, but was not quick to defend Jennifer Hudson. You can see where this is going.
That could potentially be
it puts son in an awkward position.
Her mother-in-law, right?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 24-year-old mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. And then, I mean, if they did have a child, that would be
Her nephew. Right? No,
No.
Be her brother.
That'd be your uncle
Half brother. Right?
or brother. I have.
No, it would be her husband's.
It would be
half-brother.
weird. A lot like this relationship because of the age gap. Just be weird. A lot of texts are coming in.
Why were you booking a trip to P-Town during the commercial break?
Show research.
You were talking to a good friend up in that was going to book a trip for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Somebody texted in and said this is eerily similar to the Donald Sterling situation. This one says, bottom line, if Bill wins, he can have 10 girlfriends with no problem. If he loses one, is a problem.
Well, I mean, he could move to Utah and have as many as he wants.
Very true.
No, that'd be a TV show.
Mike texts in. He says, literally gagging in the car thinking about demo day and used toy selection. If you missed that, it will be available at the podcast. Maybe you need some context for demo day. That was a comparison I was thinking about, though.
Yeah, I mean, how many times you and I go to a golf store and
it's like
they have
hey, let me see that big driver over there.
Yeah, some used clubs.
Yeah,
that might need regripping.
Mm-hmm.
Need regripping, maybe a
new head
shaft.
Yeah, that too.
You go graphite.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different ones. Technology's come a long way.
Sure has.
I learned that with golf clubs.
And based on the museum, we certainly have.
Jimmy. Apparently he did go to the website. Jimmy did.
Oh, Jimmy did. Okay, good.
OMG, people are autographing these things in that museum. The pictures look like they're hooking car batteries up to this stuff.
I did not see that part where they were signing. Like, who's signing? Do you think her mom is signing autographs? Like, buy one, get the next one half off, and then she's
like
signing them?
Celebrities donating their,
I don't know,
their past gadgets. I don't know. Somebody asking Scott Hamilton during that interview if he gave us a Ric Flair woo. I think he did.
I think he did.
Oh, let's see. I've already done one. I want to hear Langeman's Belichick impersonation. Talk about his first time visiting the museum with his girl. Man, this has got to be the funniest show I've ever listened to. 1 minute, we're talking about who's going to start at quarterback. Next minute, we're talking about a Toy Museum. LOL. Best show ever. You never know which direction we're going to go. We know which direction we're going to go with Rodney Orr, Tighter Insider. Next.
It is hour number 2 of Three Man Front. Welcome back into the program. Pat Landrum, Molly with you. Conrad back with us on Monday. Headlines last hour, we spent a great deal of time talking about the ongoing saga that is Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend. We'll get into that more a little bit later in the program. We mentioned that Auburn, Louisville basketball transfer big man James Scott, he is scheduled to visit Auburn this weekend, 6'10", averaged 6 points throughout his college career. He's played 70 games at both Charleston and Louisville, so he will visit Auburn this weekend. And also, we shared the very sad news that Sarah Annette Harrison Sanderson, the wife of former Alabama men's basketball coach Wimp Sanderson, died Wednesday. She was 86 years old. They met, obviously, up in high school in Florence. They were married for 67 years. So our thoughts and prayers are with Wimp and his family.
If you're looking for a great spot for lunch today, maybe happy hour later, or just to watch some great sports action this weekend, including the Kentucky Derby, you can do it with our friends at Rambler Sports Bar and Grill, 1630 2nd Avenue South. If you're downtown and you don't have a whole lot of time for lunch, great news. You can call ahead. You can place your order, and they guarantee from the time that you place your order, they're going to have that ready for you. You can get back to work, and you can enjoy a great lunch, a great menu that includes shareables, handhelds like the burger, the chicken sandwich, or you can go fork and knife. They got some great stuff that's flown in fresh from the Alabama Gulf Coast. It's Rambler Sports Bar and Grill. Great menu. It's an upscale sports bar experience from the 283-inch projector screen, all the video boards, and just all the action. You're not going to miss a beat. but you're going to be able to enjoy it. Even if you don't like watching sports, it's just a nice place to go and enjoy time with friends and family. It's Rambler Sports Bar and Grill, open today for lunch, this afternoon, tonight, all the way through Sunday night. Whatever you want to watch as far as sports, they're going to have it on. Rambler Sports Bar and Grill, 1630 2nd Avenue South.
He joins us every Thursday on this program throughout the year. Rodney Orr from Tider Insider joins us on the Hickenbotham Hotline. Rodney, I hope you've had a good week.
I have had a great week. How about you guys?
We have a little stormy here in Metro Birmingham today, but I think that's going to be the norm the next couple of days. Well, I have to ask you right out of the gate. We always talk to you on Thursdays before these big games, and I know Tuscaloosa is just transformed into just one of the largest cities in the state of Alabama when Alabama has a home game. Now the President of the United States and Donald Trump is making an appearance tonight at a commencement conversation. Just tell us what it's like. What's the buzz in T-Town? Is it crazy? Can you get to the grocery store? Can you get can you go to a restaurant? What's going on?
Well, I'm way down here south of town, so I'm sure it's going to be crazy there. I can only imagine, the security and the issues that are going to be down there with, trying to access the area. It's going to be crazy. You know that. But, the interesting thing is Saban's speaking too, huh? Isn't that right?
That is correct. He is speaking, I believe. I think he's kind of the warm-up act for President Trump.
Is he going to announce his gubernatorial run?
I think he's going to take over for Tuberville's Senate seat.
Okay,
I think
and
that's
then
what
Tuberville moves to governor.
Yes, Tuberville will be the governor. He's taking over for Meemaw. And then you will have Senator Saban.
So can you guys imagine? I mean, who's going to get the loudest applause, the greatest reception?
That's going to be a close call. Ooh.
That's what I said.
Very close call. Very close. Well, it should be exciting. I know I saw Walter Maddox, the mayor of Tuscaloosa. He was on local television here in Birmingham this morning saying people need to be patient. And I immediately thought of you, Rodney. So just want to make sure you are good to go and you're going to be patient today.
I'll be patient.
All right, let's talk about the transfer portal. You were very upfront with us from the get-go that you just did not think that there was going to be a lot of Alabama players exiting off the current roster, and you hit a home run there because it was crickets on that front, and so the retention seems like it worked really well for Kalen DeBoer and this staff.
Yeah, they really did. Obviously they lost a few in the initial portal that they had, and but you're right. I mean, they didn't lose any. I thought there was a possibility that a couple of younger players maybe that might hit the portal searching for opportunities to play right away. I thought that was possible, but those guys hung in there. And I think it really goes back to kind of the formula, the relationships that they have with the players. And, I think it's this is the way DeBoer wants to do it. And I think I probably said last week a little bit. It's a little bit like, I think Dabo does it, the culture that they've built. So it's interesting that all the players, were steadfast in staying here.
What will be the most interesting storyline to you once OTAs are over and we start cranking up these fall practices late in the summer?
I'm sorry, I missed that. What was the question?
As far as the storyline, what's going to be the biggest storyline? Is it going to be the quarterback position?
Yeah. I think it certainly, will be right there at the top. I mean, it'd be difficult for it not to be. I mean, but I think, right now where they are, it really sounds like, Ryan Grubb was kind of on target with what he said. I mean, being up front that as we head into the camp, Ty Simpson is the guy. I mean, it's his to lose or win. He's in front. And I think the young guys, still have a ways to go in terms of, the decision making and those types of things. Now, I think those guys can really make it a strong competition, especially if Ty doesn't hold up his end. But it does sound like to me that that's where it stands, definitely heading into August. But I think that'll be a real key. That'll be the hot topic, I think, as we get into the scrimmages in August.
As of May the 1st, that's today, we turn the calendar to the month of May. What is the biggest concern for you for Alabama for this upcoming season?
The biggest concern?
Yes.
I would say, to me, it's just the consistency in their performance. I mean, last year, and again, I understand this happens sometimes in that first year of a transition a lot of inconsistencies from week to week. But you know, you see the way they played in the first half against Georgia, in the second half, then the next week against Vanderbilt. You see the way they play against LSU, and you think, okay, they've turned the corner, and then they go lay an egg, at Oklahoma. You see the way they play against a decimated Michigan team, in that bowl game. I mean, they laid an egg. So I think it's really the consistency, just seeing that, kind of come together, playing week to week. And the SEC, you guys know, it's a grind. And every week you have to be, at or near your top, because it's going to be a real challenge. And I think just seeing them meet that each and every week and playing with consistency, that's the big thing for me as we head into next season.
A very talented wide receiver room for Kalen DeBoer, and I think you could argue with the addition of Isaiah Horton, even more talented than last year. When you take a player like Isaiah Horton, for Alabama fans or just folks listening that have not seen him play, do you have a player comp from Alabama past or just another college football player that he reminds you of?
Yeah, I haven't actually, the brief media viewing period, I've watched his tape, obviously. But the brief media viewing periods that we had, so it's difficult to tell. But he's a big physical guy. I mean, he's 6'4", he's 210 pounds. He can make big plays. I think he's a guy that's going to give them that big physical presence that they need. But as far as player comp, yeah, I'd really have to think about that a little bit. But I do think when you look at those, you mentioned how the wide receiver core seems to be really an upgrade. And I agree with that. I mean, I think this group in the secondary are two groups that really impress me in terms of the quality of players and the depth that they're now starting to build.
I know it's very early in the recruiting process for the high school. I know we spend so much time now just talking transfer portal as opposed to high school recruits. So as of this moment, Alabama looks like that out of the gate, they're going more defense. And this is early. They've only got 5 commitments in the early going. But what kind of theme do you see developing there from the high school recruiting standpoint? Is it going to be kind of even or more defensive guys, you think, more looking for that type of defensive line impact maker that has been missing the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think that's a key. I mean, they're in on several top defensive linemen. They're really good defensive linemen. I don't know about the elite defensive linemen right now, if Alabama's going to be really pushing for those guys. But I think there's a lot of very good defensive line prospects that they're in on that you can bring in and that can develop to that level. And they're in on several of those, obviously, and obviously that's a real key. I think that's a big part of this recruiting class. But I think also on the other side of the line of scrimmage, I think you've got to continue to, although I think they did a nice job of recruiting, say, Jackson Lloyd, Michael Carroll, Mal Waldrop, Micah Dubose, they need to continue to build some numbers and some quality there on the offensive line. That'll be a key. That'll be a real key for them as well. So those are two important spots, because I do believe that the line of scrimmage is always the foundation of what you're doing, especially in recruiting. So those are two spots I certainly will have my eye on.
The transfer portal on the flip side with Nate Oates and the Alabama basketball team, that's still playing out as far as additions, how you would grade some of the additions based on what you know about them, it needs for Alabama.
Yeah.
And is Alabama finished? I know we're still waiting on LeBaron Philon and the NBA draft process, but what does that look like right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it appears to be really solid. I mean, the question is, like a guy like Jaleel Bethea who comes in from Miami, he was a 5-star rated player. I mean, he was a top, 15, 20 type player. He did not have the kind of year as a freshman at Miami that I think a lot of people thought he might. But, changes scenery. He's a guy that could come in and, if he starts tapping into his potential here and fits in really well, that's a guy that could be a difference maker type, I think. Again, he did not have a great year at Miami. And then, of course, they got Noah Williamson out of Bucknell, who's a 7-footer. This guy's going to give him a great inside presence, and Taylor Bowen at Florida State. So he's another 6'10" guy. And then now you got Keaton Bristow, who was the WAC freshman of the year at Tarleton State this last year. He's got 6'9". He's really thin. I mean, some people even say he's thinner than the 190 he's listed, but he's a guy that, that has a lot of potential. So, but in terms of what they do next, like you said, I think Phylon is a big key. You got to find, to me, a point guard. And if he were to come back, I mean, obviously that'd be huge, and that'd change just about everything. And I know that they're still talking about Rylan Griffin, although there is some speculation too. And I don't know the level of this, but that he could be eyeing Texas A&M a little bit. So, we'll see there.
Rodney, before we let you go, I want to ask you about next year's draft because they're already having mock drafts come out. And depending on which one you're looking at, I'm just going to quote one of those. Pro Football Focus, the number one overall player taken is Caden Proctor, offensive tackle for Alabama. And apparently, according to Pro Football Focus, Alabama's roster this year, they really love them some Alabama Crimson Tide. But in particular, Caden Proctor, from his part of his game right now, where would you like to see him improve, and how big would that be for him to be that dominant tackle that they need to try to protect the backside of their quarterback this year?
Huge. I mean, yeah, it would be huge. And I admit that was, when I looked at that was really surprising, the list you're talking about. I think
over Arch Manning. Over Arch Manning. Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Klubnik surprised me a little bit being in that Cade Klubnik at Clemson.
Yeah, he was number 4. Yep.
That kind of caught me by surprise. And like I said, Caden Proctor, I would not have guessed that they would have had him number 1. But I mean, the things that he needs to do, again, I think Caden Proctor, one of the things, obviously, he was not healthy last year, staying healthy, but I think also his weight management, if he can get that where he needs it, he's not ever going to be 330, but I mean, if he can get that in the 350 or maybe a little below, and hopefully to start to tap into, the talent that he has. But I think, primarily just the health of it and just, the weight management aspect of it. But it certainly, if he plays up to the level of his to his potential, he could be a difference maker, certainly up front.
That is Rodney Orr. You can go to his website, TiderInsider.com. Keep up to date with all the great recruiting information and everything else happening with all of Alabama sports. Doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, baseball. They've got you covered at TiderInsider.com. Rodney, always appreciate it. Have a great weekend and get that shopping done before the president gets to town.
I will do, guys. I appreciate it.
All right,
Take
thanks.
care.
That's Rodney Orr joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Well, your one-source solution for getting things done, the outside living space around your home, maybe your business. It's Second Generation Masonry. It's a great Alabama-based company. I tell you about them all the time, but not only residential, but commercial construction work. You can go to their website, and they show you some of the completed projects that they have. Second Generation Masonry, if it's maybe repouring your driveway, you want to update your entry to your front steps. You want custom stone, brick, block. They can do it all. You want some landscape lighting to accent a particular part of your yard. Update the curb appeal. You can do it. Outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, maybe an outdoor kitchen. Second Generation Masonry, that's the team for you. Whether it's residential, whether it's commercial, I'm talking to you, estimators, project managers, superintendents. You want a dependable sub that's going to get it done right. Second Generation Masonry. Go to secondgenerationmasonry.com. Get the free quote today. And as always, tell them Landrum from Jocks 94.5 sent you. Just talk to Rodney or Tider Insider. We'll catch you up to date on other things going on the transfer portal. Still some news percolating. We continue on this Thursday, a rainy Thursday. 3-man front and Jocks 94.5.
We're back on three-man front, Jocks 94.5. Great radio stations up in Huntsville, the UMP. How about AM 740, Jocks 740 in Montgomery, Capital City? We appreciate everybody listening, or you can download the Jocks 94.5 app, take us wherever you go, or you can watch us on our YouTube page. That's Jocks 945 TV. Just search for that, and you can watch us every single day here on YouTube. I have a message for homeowners. Got a leaky roof or just thinking about an upgrade? You need to listen up, because did you know that Abide Roofing boasts a perfect 5-star rating on Google? Just don't take my word for it. Check it out and see what all the people in Central Alabama have been saying about Abide Roofing. One happy homeowner says Abide Roofing did an amazing job from start to finish. Another says they were very quick to come out and work closely with our insurance for a complete roof replacement. The work was fast, professional. It looks amazing. And it gets better. They cleaned up everything, no hassle. Plus, even after these storms that we get here in the springtime, their new roof is holding up beautifully. I can speak for experience. Travis Lloyd and his local roofing team, they're absolute pros. They handled my new roof replacement efficiency and just stress-free. The whole thing was outstanding. Customer service through the roof, no pun intended. Excellent workmanship and top quality materials, punctual and just a flawless finish. Love it. That's the Abide Roofing promise. Ready for that roofing experience that you can trust? Call Abide Roofing today, 205-922-7134. That's 205-922-7134. Or go to their website for more information, abideroof.com. Don't wait. Give your home the protection it deserves with Abide Roofing.
The college football and college basketball transfer portal, you still have news, and the deadline has come and gone, but you still have news coming out, and there's still some available players and teams at this very hour still trying to add to their rosters and fill it out before we get to the summer months. And this one coming out from our friends there at On3, Vanderbilt Commodores offensive lineman Joshua Raymond. He is committed to transfer to Florida State. So Florida State doing some last-minute
Portal shopping,
add-ons as they get ready, and Gus Malzahn's continue to derive that game plan as they're going to host the Alabama
wanted to
Crimson
say
Tide.
bus, but you didn't.
Yes, I did. As they host the Alabama Crimson Tide there at newly renovated Doak Campbell, right?
Yeah, so we were talking about, you and I were talking about this during one of the commercial breaks yesterday. One of these viral things on social media over the last couple of days, and it's our Twitter poll question of the day today, Molly. And it's something that has gone viral over the last few days, and it has to do with man versus animal.
Sorry, it took me a while to get it pulled up. But yeah, today we asked on our Twitter poll, who would win in a fight? 100 men or one gorilla? Who you got? Right now, gorilla is winning with 64%. Man, only 36%.
That really surprises me.
Really?
That really does. I did a little research on this. And
Isn't it all about the strategy of the 100 men?
so I was reading an article, Tara Stoinski.
Mhm.
She is the president and chief scientific officer of the Diane Fossey Gorilla Fund. And she says that she was asked this question, and she says the numbers game really works in favor of the people. So that kind of goes what you were just talking about, the pure numbers against the one. This is a direct quote from someone that knows gorillas as well as anybody. I think in terms of kind of being able to prolong a battle that could eventually wear a gorilla out, and our ability to really cooperate and coordinate, I think those two elements kind of work against a gorilla's favor.
That's what I'm saying.
Strategy.
It's strategy. Now, not that it would be easy. And this is no weapons. This is just hand-to-hand combat.
Hand-to-hand combat. She says she has studied gorillas for over 20 years. Says that while the primates are very strong, their size and strength have been a little overestimated over the course of this debate online. She says, I've seen in some places, they're 25 times stronger than a human being. I've just seen these numbers that I don't think if they're based on reality. So I do wonder a little bit if there's been some over-exaggeration of the size and strength of a gorilla, but that is not to dismiss the fact that they are very strong.
Are the pressure points and the points where there's different pressure points where, whether it's in self-defense or trying to get someone under control, you can use pain thresholds and different like right up under the bridge of the nose.
Yeah.
With a stern finger. That hurts. Are gorillas vulnerable in the same way?
I'm not sure.
And we just go old school where, I mean, you
Go for the legs.
well, I was saying the nads.
Okay, go for the nads.
Yeah, go straight for the nads. Does a gorilla respond the same way that a human male, most human males respond, and that is immediately buckling over? And
Her scenario is basically she feels like you could take, let's say, a team of 10 guys
okay.
and you have them basically in
Yeah.
shifts
Oh, okay.
where like these 10 attack the gorilla.
It's like buckyball, but with 10.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden the next 10 is able to, it just comes in waves.
Comes away. It's okay.
And so she feels like that would be the way that a human being would be able to beat a gorilla because of our way of schematically able to figure out a way to flank him and to do certain things.
Okay.
So the average gorilla weighs around 400 pounds, about 5'6" to 6 foot tall. And some people say they're about 5 times stronger than a man. So that's why, based on our poll question, Molly,
It seems a little low to me.
5 times?
Yeah. I would have thought it would have been more.
Well, that's what in this article she says that people are overestimating their strength. They're very strong animals, but not as strong as the internet. Because I showed you a simulation on AI.
It does not go well for us.
No, it was 100 gorillas against 1 million men.
Have you ever seen the movie 300?
Yeah.
Yeah. The gorillas are the Spartans.
Yeah, the gorillas just absolutely out of the 100 that were attacked by 1 million men in this simulation, only 14 gorillas died.
Wow.
From 1 million men that were attacking.
I know it's horrible to say, but I would love to see this. Like, how can we play this out?
You want to see this played out?
I do.
Planet of the Apes comes to life. Is that what you're saying?
So going back to corporal punishment, you have your options. You can be on the team that goes against the gorilla, or you can choose another way that seems a lot more boring.
So in this article, Caleb Judd, who is a wildlife biologist, came to the conclusion that men would reign supreme in this battle. We are definitely taking casualties, but this isn't enough to just rip apart every man instantaneously before a couple of guys on each limb are able to restrain him. He'd likely tire out fairly quickly relative to humans who have kind of maxed out our cardio endurance in exchange for the strength that other apes have retained. So they're basically saying the men have the cardio while the ape has the strength.
Pat,
makes sense.
If we're in this, I want to be in wave 10.
Yes.
I want that gorilla to be just beat down and tired and just go ahead and end it. I do not want to be on the front line of like kick cover when you're running down Braveheart style. I guess, maybe that you used to be able to do that, but.
All right, here's the next question.
Okay.
So according to this 20-year-long study of gorillas by this doctor named Stoitsky, she was asked the question about, okay, well then how many men? So if she's saying that 100 could beat the one gorilla, could 10 men do it or 20 men do it? And she says, it's interesting to me to continue this fascination of whether it could be 10 men or 20 men. Where would the gorilla win? They've loomed large in our mythology, in our movies, King Kong fighting Godzilla. But even more interesting, she says that gorillas are often portrayed as aggressive and violent beings in the media, and they're really just gentle giants.
The one at the zoo is not, or the one that
is not a gentle giant.
Well, this was a long time ago, and I don't know, that gorilla might still be there, he might not, but he did not strike me as gentle. Now, I've heard of orangutans and people having monkeys
Mhm.
and as pets, and the orangutan all of a sudden just tears a woman's face off.
Ugh.
But I thought that gorillas that was the apex of the primate
Yeah, the silverback, right?
chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that the
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you see Gorillas in the Mist when it came out? Sigourney Weaver, Anthony Hopkins.
I did.
Wasn't it? That was a good movie. Now that portrayed, a different side of the gorillas. Let's save the gorillas, which I'm all about. How did this come about?
Yeah, what?
So apparently,
Was this part of Doge?
No, this is one of these things that it shows up on a Reddit post, and then the Reddit post turns into a question on X, and
Mhm.
it has absolutely dominated podcasts and all sorts of talk shows like this.
Sweet.
Now, if we just merged, could 100 Jordan Hudsons defeat a gorilla?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Of the 100 men, could we pick? Like, who would, like,
The 100
representative?
guys.
Right. Can we pick the 100 guys to go in?
Yes. We're definitely not getting drafted, Pat,
No,
which is fine by me.
I'd like to be a part of it.
I would not. That's all you.
Pat, we support you in your endeavor.
Wave 10.
We'll sponsor you.
No, wave
10.
Wave 10.
You're number 100. I'll be there cheering you on. I would pull something running out.
Me too.
No,
To
I
meet the
firmly
gorilla.
believe that man would beat the one gorilla.
Yeah, we're smarter.
Yeah.
Most times we're smarter.
I mean, we will take some casualties. There's
Yeah.
no doubt that we will, but we will prevail.
Not that it's the same thing, but let's compare. So if it's one grown man in good shape,
Mhm.
and you got 100 kids under the age of 7,
Basically, not Conrad.
right? I still think that the kids, if you got them together and you coordinated it, they could take down the one man.
Take down the one gorilla.
No, the man. If we had just a grown man and then 100 kids under the age of 7
I see what
in
you're
the
saying.
same scenario,
Yes.
I think I would take the
Yeah.
100 kids.
Yeah, you ever been to a daycare?
It's a numbers. It's a numbers game, right?
Yeah. I'm telling you, go for the legs.
Go for the legs. My original idea, though, let's see where the vulnerability is.
Yeah.
Chop a tree down. What do? Chop from the base.
Chop from the base.
Go for the gorillas.
Get him, Mike. No, Mike.
That's okay. We got 99 more. Next time.
Daryl, get in there.
It's about the next man up.
I can't find him.
All right. We'd love to hear from you on the Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. Love to hear from you. We got Rob Pate coming up in about 10 minutes. We'll take your phone calls, 1-800-239-WJOX. To the text line we go, and many of you are chiming in on this debate, whether it's Bill Belichick's girlfriend, her situation, or this latest question that we asked you on the Twitter poll question of the day, which was one gorilla versus 100 men.
And we got strategy coming in from some of our listeners. 205-834-9450. This is man versus gorilla. And send some guys in waves, says this listener. I'm sitting Reuben Foster, Rolando McClain, one go high, one go low. DJ Fluker, Chance Warmack, running on the front side. Patty Brimlett, take the back, choke him out. Go ahead and throw in some of the Merry Milkmen and Midnight Yield guys from Texas A&M to take care of his sensitive areas.
That's good.
By the way, the question I was asking about the vulnerability in the very sensitive areas.
Do you have that confirmed now, right?
I do have it confirmed that, yes, gorillas are sensitive in those particular areas.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Drake says a black mamba will kill a gorilla. One strike, it's over. Yeah, with the venom. I guess so. Ranger B, have you seen the videos of the gorilla running around thrashing trees and everyone in sight? One of those dominance displayed would leave 20 men maimed. You underestimate the speed and ferocity. Ranger B, I am not underestimating anything. I want no part of this. But I would watch it.
No one is debating that we're going to lose people.
But I don't want to send in good people. Let's just take the scum of the earth
instead of sending them down to Central America. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, in those cases, or overcrowding our prisons and paying for them to sit on death row. Let's put them in there.
Kind of like a gladiator type deal. Like you want to get your freedom.
But I ain't pulling for the gladiator at that point. Are you?
No.
I'm Team Gorilla. But yeah, let's see it. Let's put it on TV. You think it'd get picked up by streaming?
Absolutely.
Who would pick it up first? Would it be Netflix? Josh texts in. He says, big question is how much poo throwing by the gorillas are involved. That was the first thing that I saw. I saw a lot of poo throwing, and then I saw regurgitation, and then reconsumption. It was a lot. And then
in regards to
the
gorilla doing that towards the man,
it was at the zoo. First encounter.
Oh, okay.
It was that childhood memory that just kind of stuck.
I got you.
And then
I thought you meant that was part of the strategy of a gorilla.
No,
is to throw poo at the man.
It could be. It could be. Look, if I have the choice, if you're going to rip my head off or throw poo at me, if you're a gorilla, throw poo at me. Movies have demonstrated all we need is one blonde and the gorilla is defeated.
There you go.
They are his kryptonite.
Molly, we're volunteering you.
Get yourself in there.
Oh, man. Why me?
Come on. Bat the eyes. Wear something nice.
Damsel in distress.
Yes.
That's it.
Molly's our secret weapon.
That's right. Average men or UFC fighters or the Mountain from Game of Thrones. Ooh.
Yeah.
Steve says from Tuscaloosa, hey, Steve, hope you're doing well, buddy. Landrum, are you kidding me? One Jordan Hudson can easily defeat a gorilla. After all, we're now seeing Jordan slowly take down the GOAT of the NFL.
That's good.
Well done.
That's very, very well written.
Well done, Steve.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend. We are losing all of Wave 2 after they see the destruction of 10 of our finest men in Wave 1.
Okay, so then all right, so we're out 20. So
we're out 20.
We still have 80. We have 80% of our force.
Yeah.
So would that 20% be able to knock the gorilla to the point to where maybe the next, I say we get it done within 50. I think we take 50 and we can win. I'm going to try to get odds.
I've got to see that first 50. And is there a certain body type that we're putting in there for the first 10, 20? We want to tire him out. We want the quick, agile.
No, I'm thinking that I think the quick agile comes like the middle group. Because I think you go size first, because that's going to wear him down more, because we're going to bring our bigger guys up front.
So O-line, D-line first?
Yes.
Okay.
Those guys attack first. That's going to potentially wear him down more. And then you get the quick, little speedy, like the water bugs. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like they come in there. And then they just start picking him off left and right.
Then you bring in the Jalen Waddles.
Yes.
Okay.
I've thought way too much about this.
Can we make a roster?
I think we should.
I think we should.
Who's coaching the 100?
Oh, come on.
I know.
Come on. It's Bill Belichick.
Jordan Hudson. Maybe she'll let Bill coach. This one coming in from, I probably shouldn't read that one. How many Conrads to beat one gorilla? LOL.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know if that's possible.
He can't beat the food challenge. Flat tires beat him. I don't know. Conrad, he's a smart guy.
Very smart.
So you get 100 big brains. But still, when it comes down to, you can't use anything external.
Yeah, it's just your hands.
It's just you.
Mm-hmm.
And what God gave you, no. Send Bruce Lee. That's good.
Our audience is not favoring what I am selling. Gorilla is still 65% for the win.
Matt in Birmingham says, my 7-year-old takes me down and I'm in great shape. Kids could totally take down one adult, and the same with men versus gorilla. Me and my son will take wave 7. So he wants on in wave 7.
He wants to, what? Okay.
And he's bringing his son. This is great.
It's good. It's
Father
good.
and son fighting along.
Yeah, going to battle.
Each other.
See, I'm thinking of guys like a Conor McGregor or like a prime Mike Tyson.
Conor McGregor's definitely, we're putting him in there.
Jake Paul, like when do you send them in? Early or later?
I send Jake Paul in first.
Yeah.
See, I think so
like
too.
actual first guy.
No, like he's first man up. Yeah.
Yep. For sure. Covered, smeared in bananas.
Or maybe even like a Usain Bolt. Like he's got the speed.
Ooh, Usain.
And the agility.
Yeah, he comes in the mid.
Yeah.
He's the mid wave.
But then like a Saquon or a Derrick Henry, like when do you send them in?
Cody says Amazon Prime would absolutely pick it up.
No, I'm thinking Derrick Henry. I'm thinking him, like he's towards the back end.
The back end with Saquon.
They're the ones that absolutely like finish it off.
I like that.
You got the big offensive line, defensive line guys. They go in first. They tire him. Then you got the speedy guys in the mid round, the 40 to 50.
Yeah.
And then you bring in the hammer towards the back end.
Conor McGregor.
Yep.
With all this talk about the combat with the gorillas, should we be on high alert for an uprising from the gorilla community? Real life Planet of the Apes.
There's no telling what they're communicating at the Birmingham Zoo right now.
This one rolls in. Let's send the men and women in the Alabama Senate that won't allow us to have gambling. Maybe that would get their minds right. Isaiah Stewart has to be in one of those waves, says one of our listeners. Isaiah Stewart.
All right, we will continue with your text messages. Rob Pate is going to join us next.
Interesting strategies.
Absolutely. We will continue that conversation after Rob Pate joins us. Much more to come on this three-man front on Thursday, Jocks 94.5. 11:48, Jocks 94.5 each and every Thursday. Rob Pate, the outstanding former defensive back there for the Auburn Tigers. Doctor to the stars down in the Auburn Opelika area and the Entrepreneur of the Year in Lee County.
Is
Rob
that like
Pate.
patient-doctor privilege or like who's the most famous set of eyes you've ever worked on?
That's a HIPAA violation.
Almost baited you into it.
See, he was trying to get your license revoked.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Landrum does.
Trying to get you out of the medical profession. I want to get you into guerrilla fighting.
It's so crazy though, because we talk about HIPAA, but then if you go to the dentist, they don't even have doors. I mean, it's just like you can see everybody in there.
I've never thought of that. I've never thought about that.
I don't know why we're so. In some professions and other ones, we're like, yeah, I mean, you can hear every conversation and every detail and know everything that just happened in my mouth, but on some things we don't allow any information to leak. So
okay, so Rob, I know that Molly kind of briefed you on one of the major topics that we've been discussing today is one gorilla versus 100 men, and so you being an eye doctor. And Landrum brought this up during a commercial break. We're talking about strategy of how the waves of men are going to be able to defeat this gorilla. And he just asked me, he said, do you think we ought to go for the eyes? So what do you think? Should that be one of the areas, the tender areas that we go after if we are going to attack that one gorilla? Do we go after the eyes?
Oh, I mean, you would be unwise to not if you can get after them. I mean, there's more nerves per square inch in your cornea than anywhere else in your body. So it's one of the most sensitive areas there is. Plus, if you gouge out an eye, I mean, man, you've got a huge advantage with 100 people coming at different areas. Now, when Molly said that, I had no idea what she was talking about. I thought she said, would 100 hunters, like hunters with rifles, would they be able to? And I was like, I certainly hope so. I mean, they need a good eye doctor.
No.
But as I was thinking, I think I'm leaning towards, it depends on where those 100 guys are from. I mean, if they're over the mountain, like Landrum, Cole, some of those guys, then...
But hey, they're from our side of the mountain where you and I grew up,
from
Rob.
our side of the mountain.
Yes.
If you're northeast Jefferson County, all the way up to say Warrior Corner.
Yep.
We take give me 10 good guys.
I would definitely show up in a collared shirt to fight the gorilla.
I'm sure Abercrombie and Fitch and
Structure.
And Structure. Yeah. Maybe Express.
Yeah. With Landrum, it probably was Express.
No. My sisters went there.
All right. So I want to ask you about the NFL draft. You were part of that process back in your day coming out of Auburn. When you saw what happened to Shedeur Sanders, how shocked were you to see him fall as much as he did?
I was shocked because I think he's a really special player. And that position is where you live and die. And so I'm shocked to see that many teams would pass. And I don't think they're passing on his talent. I think they're passing on all the things that come with him, namely Deion Sanders' Twitter account and, just the constant, attention that will be driven. And, so at the NFL, I mean, those guys, they want guys that can play, and they'll bury some things in the past if they think you can help them win. And I think Shedeur Sanders can help teams win. And so it's shocking for me to see him go that far. But I think it's going to be humbling for him. I'm sure it's humbling for their family. But it may be the best thing that ever happened to him. One, he's going to go to a place where he's not even the top drafted quarterback in his class. He's going to go to a place where quarterback play has not been very good for a long time. And so the bar's kind of set low, and, he's going to have a shot to play pretty early, I think. So I understand kind of the premise around what these teams were thinking, but it's still shocking to see him fall that far. It really is.
Rob, now that spring is in the books for most everybody, including the Auburn Tigers, you've always been great about coming on the show and just speaking your heart, speaking truth. And sometimes it's not what Auburn fans want to hear, but we appreciate you being so candid. What should Auburn fans expect? Just knowing what you know about the roster, the makeup, and now Hugh Freeze in year 3, what should Auburn fans expect, and should they expect a lot more than we've got in the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, I think they should. I think that you should definitely expect Auburn to finish football games and beat the teams they're supposed to. Did not happen last year. Hasn't happened since Coach Freeze has been there. And so that's got to change. And I think he expects that to change. And he's going to feel the pressure if it doesn't. I mean, it just needs to happen. I think they're going to be really good in some areas. But again, you can look back at the NFL draft and kind of get an idea of the personnel standpoint that Auburn has been lacking. When you only have 3 guys go, you have no first or first day guys. It's been a long time since Auburn's put those type of players out, and so he's making huge strides in getting the personnel groupings like it needs to be and bringing talent in. They just have to get W's. And last year, I think they're a program that just doesn't know how to finish. Doesn't know how. They don't have enough leadership, or didn't have enough leadership and enough guys that had been in close battles and what it takes to close the door to get a win. And I think that's something you have to learn. They've got to do it a couple of times before they start getting that taste and that feel and make that habitual for them. So I think they're going to be a lot better. I think the wide receiving core is going to be one of the best in the country. I think their secondary is going to be really good. I think they're really good on the offensive front. Again, what's the quarterback play going to be like? Very talented guys that come with a lot of prestige, but can they make plays when it matters? And that's where you win or lose.
Rob, before we let you go, how's business there at Sanford Trace Court, home of Sweet Frog down in Auburn?
It's been really good. It's been fun, man. It's been hard. I mean, I tell people, because a lot of people ask me if I still see patients, and I say I do, but this job is much harder than the seeing patients job. It's a lot busier than we ever anticipated. But it's been fun for our family to do it together, and just seeing all aspects of the community. I mean, everybody loves frozen yogurt. So we get rich people, we get poor people, we get white people, we get black people. We get a cross-section of the entire community. And we love that. I mean, that's what we did it for, and we want it to be a place that people can make great memories and have fun time as a family and get them done. We're
Have you already had offers, people trying to buy your franchise? Rob?
I think his phone cut out.
My guess is a gorilla got him.
Gorilla heard the
You
conversation.
think gorillas like frozen yogurt?
That could be
I'm just saying.
Could be an angle.
Well, we don't have to do it with violence. Good sugar rush. Bunch of toppings.
Or have the
brain
gorilla
freeze.
That's what I was going to say. Eat it as fast as possible.
Yes.
Then you attack them. All right, 2 hours in the books. We're halfway home here on this Thursday. This is Three Man Front on Jocks 94.5. It is 12 noon. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front, Jocks 94.5. Pat Smith, Landrum Roberts, Smalley Robinson. Conrad out the next couple of days. He's down at the beach at another bachelor party.
Golly, man. I'm starting to think these are just get-togethers.
They're not really
They're
bachelor
not really
parties.
bachelor parties.
Hey, let's go hang out for the weekend, play some golf,
Yeah.
hang out at the beach.
I never do the follow-up, but he goes to a lot of these bachelor parties, and then we never hear about, no, I got a wedding this weekend.
That is interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Very fascinating. Earlier in the program, we talked to Scott Hamilton from the Charleston Post-Courier in Charleston, South Carolina. Talked to him about all this Bill Belichick mess. He has been a longtime sports writer, columnist in the Carolinas, in both Charlotte and there in South Carolina. So we talked to him about that. Rodney Orr from Tighter Insider. We just heard from Rob Pate. Coming up this hour, we're going to go to Waco, Texas. David Smoke. He's one of the co-hosts of just an outstanding show that you can watch every single day in the afternoon, drive time on YouTube. It's 365 Sports, and these guys, they cover Texas sports and the Big 12 and college football as well as anybody. So David Smoke will join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. And next hour, Eli Craner, who used to be a Division I quarterback, and he's now a writer. He's written some novels, and he's got a very interesting novel that's due out later this summer. It's called Blue 42, about a fictional Southern University, a top-notch, top-of-the-line football program in the state of Mississippi. Oh, you're starting to see a bunch of parallels, aren't you? And how a hotshot recruit ends up in a little bit of trouble. I'm not going to give it away.
Well, to be fair, that could be any program, but
Yes, it could.
hotshot recruit gets in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble. I mean, like big trouble.
Like vape store trouble.
Bigger than that.
Whoa.
Big time trouble. But
Okay.
anyway, we're going to talk to him about his life, his career as a writer, as a football player. He even was a head coach in high school football. This guy's a football dude,
I can't wait to read it.
and he's a writer now. He's won a lot of awards, and he's got a new novel coming out. So we'll talk to him about that coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. But we're going to continue this conversation. A lot of different angles and things that we talked about at the early part of the show. We told you about this incredible Jordan Hudson story in the New York Post, in which it says that she has amassed $8 million in her real estate portfolio since she met Bill Belichick. So I don't know if it's because of the fact that she's now associated with Bill Belichick and the people in the Northeast love Bill Belichick so much that, she's getting these opportunities to invest because she's getting a lot of loans and she's turning property, but she has amassed over $8 million in her portfolio.
I wonder how that works, and we don't have the paperwork. But is he co-signing on these things, or is they solely
According to this, there's nothing in here that would signify that he is co-signing. That she is going out and she's securing these loans and she's buying property. She bought one property and she turned it into 3 different apartments. It's like a 3-level older home that she turned into apartments. She's got something on Cape Cod. But part of the story, it's kind of buried in the story itself. I'm just going to read this directly. It's talking about how Hudson was raised in Hancock, Maine, to parents who ran a fishing business that went bankrupt after the fishing grounds were closed in 2000. Then the New York Post reports that her mother eventually moved to Provincetown, which is on Cape Cod.
P-Town.
P-Town. Where she manages a sex toy shop and museum. So we actually did a little bit of research there in hour number 1 and found out that although I do not see any employees listed on the Facebook page or their website, but it is a sex toy shop and museum. So if you're ever in the P-Town area and you're looking for a museum, because we all love history.
Coming soon to Chapel Hill. What's the name of the museum store? Please tell me it's a great play on words.
Wasn't it
I mean, I've got so many right now.
Was it Eros?
Oh yeah, Eros,
Eros, whatever.
which is derived from Greek.
Greek
that's
god.
Where we get, that's where we get erotic.
Okay.
Yeah, Eros.
Gotcha.
Eros.
Gotcha. So beyond the fact that she is obviously a multimillionaire when it comes to real estate, but her mom is managing a toy shop and museum. And we're not talking about KB Toy and Hobby Shop.
Tar Heel Thrill. No.
Are you thinking about or maybe her mom moving to Chapel Hill and opening up
Or I thought maybe, Jordan, she's acquiring real estate. Find you a nice little storefront.
Sure, it'd be a big hit amongst the co-eds there in Chapel Hill.
That would be
Probably.
Yeah. I don't think you have to get that thing approved, because I had heard about one in a particular suburb close to us where somebody had filed the paperwork to try to get what was described as a bougie adult themed store.
Where was this? In Homewood?
No, it was not Homewood.
Oh.
And just stop asking, because then we're going to narrow it down.
Oh.
But yes, a very nice area of town, and I don't think it passed. But I didn't know these. No,
Define bougie.
I guess it would be high end.
Okay.
Really nice.
Sure.
I don't know if there's
As
different,
opposed to the seedy.
I think they're all seedy, but yeah. I don't know if you go in and it's like when you go to like a nice salon or a spa, you get like the hot towel. Hey, can I get you a sparkling water?
It's an experience.
So now they're giving you a moist towelette.
Oh gosh, Pat. I was gonna do it live, and I don't want to do it now. Can't do it now. But it was a bougie type. I didn't know that they apparently have them in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. But we do not have those here, correct?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I only know of the one that I think everybody here knows
It's in
because of
Hoover.
their advertising. Yeah.
Okay.
I used to eat dinner there with my family.
Because it used to be a Quincy's, did it not?
Used to be a Quincy's.
It did.
Yes.
Those hot yeast rolls.
Yeah. The salad bar is not there anymore.
No sirloin tips.
There is something that is replaced where the salad bar was.
Oh. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So that story in itself, just about the fact that a 24-year-old who in 2 weeks, I understand she is still going to compete for Miss Maine.
Is that in 2 weeks?
I think it is. And she's amassed 8 million plus in real estate holdings. I'm impressed. It's pretty good.
We have to get footage from the Miss Maine pageant when they get down to, and I'm guessing
It's May 10th and 11th.
Told you.
I'm guessing, Molly, not that you're well versed on these pageants or anything, but would you think that there would be the Q&A
Oh yeah, absolutely.
during the competition?
I think that's only if you make a top certain number, though.
I
don't know if that's for every. I could be wrong.
This
So
is
that's
what
right,
would,
Bill Belichick.
this was what would be great. One of those judges is like, "How did you and Bill meet?" I guarantee she would answer the same way she did at CBS.
So he broke up with his longtime girlfriend, Linda Holiday.
Linda, yes.
That was his previous, and she was 60.
Yeah. She looked like a very lovely woman. Hope she's doing well. She was 60. 13
When they were
years his
dating.
junior.
Well, they broke up, a few years ago?
Yeah, but she's always been 13 years his junior.
2023, I think, like early 23 is when they broke up.
But they would go out on his boat. He had the whaler. You would see pictures of them every now and then.
Yeah.
Out together. But never the mermaid poses and all the other silliness we're getting with her right now. I mean, I can imagine that there's probably, is Bill listening to anyone else?
Apparently
There's
not.
no way this is a ruse, right? This is not just about her acting as a publicist, an influencer, and they're actually not romantically involved.
I don't know.
Or did he get with a team of people and like, hey, we need to, like, after he got passed over for a couple of NFL jobs, he felt like he had lost his edge and he got with a team of people and like, this is how we're going to do it. I don't put anything past anybody these days.
No.
Because he is so out of his element in doing the stuff that he's doing based on the Bill Belichick that we've come to know.
She has asked to be CC'd on all emails that go to Bill to the University of North Carolina, although she is not in a University of North Carolina official in regards to her employment. So there are people in the state of North Carolina asking serious questions about her access to certain things.
Well, and they've gone and they've interviewed people that were her classmates and actually grew up with her, and they said, what was she like? And if they said that there was one word, it would be she's controlling.
Maybe that's part of the attraction.
Maybe so. He wants to be controlled. He's been in control all this time, and it's time for somebody else to be in control of him. I don't know, but it's a story that we're going to continue to follow, and I'm sure people are going to continue to text us about. 205-834-9450. Oh, Smokey says the new Jordan logo has dropped for UNC.
Does he have it? Oh, my.
Oh, all this time, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Miss Maine, over 40 age group, right? Nope.
Do you think a few people will be there covering it this year?
I would say so.
Is it held in Bangor?
I bet I can find out.
Find out. We're going to have to get audio from the Miss Maine.
Oh, I'm sure this will be.
Is there any doubt, though,
Portland.
she'll have the most expensive dress?
It's in Portland.
Probably.
They fly in some stylist from Paris to do her hair. Golly, I can't do it. This is very clever. Whoever sent this in, very clever. I can't read the last part, but the family business went from focusing on fishing to yeah, it's well done. Can we have Conrad do live reporting from Arrows, Sam? Like we sent him outside the SEC office if he goes outside of Arrows.
Yeah, he hid out in the parking deck there at the SEC headquarters a couple years ago.
Is anyone surprised that Viagra or Cialis has not made Bill the poster boy for the drug manufacturer? Look, that's a stereotype. We don't know. I don't know what Bill's got going on. I don't want to know. But he seems like a young, vibrant 73. I mean, to do what he's doing this day and age in college football, maybe he needs an assistant. Oh boy, I can now see it. North Carolina new collective with the, as this listener describes it, the Sex Museum.
Well, Bill Belichick told CBS Sunday Morning that he does not care what people think. So even with that little blurb coming out in the New York Post story about what her mom does,
yeah,
I don't think any of this phases him at all. I think it upsets the people at the University of North Carolina immensely. But it's what you get when you hired him.
Yeah, but in their defense, and I know you have to vet, but you think this is the absolute safest hire we could ever have. We've got Bill Belichick. He's won Super Bowls. We know he's going to go over every square inch of our program with a fine-tooth comb no stone goes unturned, attention to detail. But now you're getting this sideshow.
Here's my question. If Bill Belichick would have been hired by the Atlanta Falcons and Jordan and Coach Belichick was together, would this be a story?
Nope.
Even if he did like CBS Sunday Morning as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons?
It'd be a little bit of a story, Pat, but it wouldn't have near this much steam.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we would view it differently. Don't you think, Molly?
Yeah, I think so.
But now the fact that he's got his son coaching on his staff. Now son's wife
Is making comments.
has taken a little jab because he couldn't do it, which is probably better. He's let his wife take the job. Oh, man. I bet those are some fun get-togethers.
Very much
Or
so.
do they get together?
May not.
Are they all going to be in Maine for the pageant?
I hope Bill's front and center.
So proud of you.
Yeah.
You're so good. Do the baton thing. Twirl the baton. Twirl the baton. No, like you did for me. Yeah. Yeah, twirl it. No, spin. You got good footwork. Twirling the baton, the talent section of the pageant.
There's not a talent section of this.
There's
pageant.
not?
No.
What?
So this is Miss Maine USA, not Miss Maine America. Because remember, there's Miss USA and Miss America.
What is the difference?
There's two separate.
What's the difference?
It's scholarships and stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, that's Miss America.
Right.
That's scholarship and talent, and then this one is. I mean, they all do an on-stage question, but this one they do swimsuit as well.
Okay. I was hoping there would be talent.
They're a little different. There's no talent this one.
Does she have a talent we don't know about, like clogging?
Maybe.
We will continue to read your texts, your phone calls. Bottom of the hour, we'll talk a little Big 12 football with David Smoke from 365 Sports. This is Three Man Front, Jocks 94.5. 1221, Jocks 94.5, bottom of the hour. David Smoke's going to join us from 365 Sports, Waco, Texas. Talk a little Big 12, Brett Yormark. Talk about Baylor football and so much more coming up on the program. If you missed any of our interviews earlier today, Scott Hamilton, the Charleston Post-Courier, Rodney Orr, Rob Pate. You can download the Three Man Front podcast or take us along with you, Jocks 94.5 app.
Get on over to Dobbs Ford right there on Parkway East in Birmingham. Dobbs Ford has got the best showroom selection you're going to find in the state of Alabama, but also they'll beat any competitor's price, and they're going to give you top dollar for your trade. But on top of that, you're going to get the award-winning customer service from a family-run business, from Joey and Rachel Goshen to their son Austin and their entire team there at Dobbs Ford, whether it's in the showroom, out on the lot, or they're in the body shop. They got a great body shop. I've dealt with those guys as well. Dobbs Ford, check out the selection, whether it's the F-150s, the Mustangs, the Broncos Sports, the Mach-E's. How about the new Mavericks? That's one of those hybrids. So if you're into that, they got those as well. Right now, you're going to get Ford employee pricing on certain makes and models. So you want to take advantage now. You're going to pay what the employees pay. And 90 days, they're going to let you wait after you purchase it until you make your first payment. You can't beat it. DobbsFordBirmingham.com. That's where you peruse the great selection. Check it out. A great pre-owned inventory as well. DobbsFordBirmingham.com. Make sure you tell them Landrum from Three Man Front sent you.
So this is an interesting stat. So after the NFL draft, the top selling jerseys in the NFL by those just drafted into the league. Coming in at number 10 was Colston Loveland from the Chicago Bears. Tyler Warren of the Indianapolis Colts at 9. Matthew Golden, a very rare wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Abdul Carter, surprised that he was not a little bit higher up, but his now teammate Jackson Dart was ahead of jersey sales than Abdul Carter. Ted McMillan, the new outside threat for the Carolina Panthers for Bryce Young, he comes in as the 5th most purchased jersey after the NFL draft. Coming in at number 4, would you like to take a guess of the ones that I have not mentioned from the top drafts from the weekend? It was Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren, Matthew Golden, Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart, Ted McMillan. So now looking for the top 4. Who do you think was at number 4?
Tate Ratledge, Detroit Lions.
That's a good one. I will go with Ashton Genty.
You got it. Ashton Genty came in at number 4. At number 3, the 144th pick of the NFL draft, Shedeur Sanders.
See, I figured they like Shedeur, Travis Hunter, and Genty would be 1, 2, 3.
Shedeur Sanders came in at number 3, so I guess the Cleveland Browns jersey are just flying off the shelf.
Which one would you get? Would you get the white one?
If you were forcing me to have a Cleveland Browns jersey,
I would be forcing you.
I would
be
get the
forcing me.
white. I would get the white.
I'd go the white.
Okay. Coming in at number 2 from the Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward, who will now wear Warren Moon's number 1. And Warren Moon kind of slipped up last week when they were making that presentation. He kind of let the cat out of the bag, saying the Titans are going to be getting new uniforms.
Woo.
Oops. Not this year, but in the upcoming years.
You think they're
It will not be the
no, they're not going to let them do that.
Houston.
That'd be so awesome.
No. Coming in at number 1, no big surprise, Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Folks in Duval County love them some Travis Hunter jerseys.
He's done a good job with being very present on their social media and kind of already interacting with, from what I've seen, interacting with fans. So I think they'll like him.
I think he's going to be a grand slam.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
No, that was a great move by them, being able to go and get him. If you heard our conversation with Rodney Orr, we brought this up during the interview, and it is fascinating to look at some of these mock drafts. And as we all know, it's going to change 5 million times before we get to next year's NFL draft. But just to kind of get an idea of what some organizations are thinking in regards to the draft process for next season. Pro Football Focus had Caden Proctor as the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft next year. Number 1. They got him slotted to go to the New York Giants At number 2 to the Cleveland Browns, Arch Manning.
Mm.
Now, I can just say this. Based on the history of the Manning family and knowing that Archie told the San Diego Chargers, do not draft my kid, don't do it. I can go ahead and tell you that the Manning family will not go play for the Cleveland Browns, although Arch Manning's uncle, Peyton, had a very good relationship with the Haslams
I didn't think about that
because
angle.
the Haslams own the Browns. Haslam's one of the biggest boosters of the University of Tennessee.
But don't you think Benson, that leadership group in New Orleans, will sell out to get Arch Manning?
It's interesting because at number 3, according to Pro Football Focus, Caleb Downs would go to the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
At number 4, the New York Jets would take Cade Klubnik from the Clemson Tigers, and it has the Saints slotted for the 5th pick, and they would take Garrett Nussmeier.
Ooh.
Now think about this for a second. Of all the quarterbacks in the last 55 years that the New Orleans Saints could have taken in the first round of the draft, and they haven't, Archie Manning was the last one taken in the first round, that you're going to take Garrett Nussmeier. You're going to break the historical streak by drafting Garrett Nussmeier?
See, I don't think that happens.
I don't either.
I think that they probably give up a bunch.
They trade
with
and
the
do
Browns,
whatever they want.
with the Browns. The Browns know who they want, and the Browns are like, look, we miss on our quarterback pick every year.
Yeah.
Nussmeier, bring him on, but probably get some added cachet.
Mm-hmm. It was just odd to me seeing that. Preface again, this is going to change 17 million times.
I mean, Saints fans would be fired up about Nussmeier, but you want to talk about over the moon, ecstatic, let's have a parade, a party, a Manning gets drafted?
Exactly. But it's just the fact that you have had an opportunity in 55 previous drafts and you never took a quarterback. And now Garrett Nussmeier is going to be your quarterback that you're going to get. That's odd to me. But anyway.
I'm trying to look and
it's hypothetics.
Oh, just trying to see how bad have they actually been
in the draft?
Yeah, with certain quarterbacks. I mean, I know about some of them, but I was just trying to remember some of the other guys that they've taken. Okay.
Well, Spencer Rattler's going to get his chance.
Ian Book, Tommy Stevens from Mississippi State. Garrett Grayson.
Household names.
Sean Canfield.
Another one.
Cantfield. Adrian McPherson. Remember him?
Yeah. When we come back on Three Man Front, we'll go to Waco, Texas. We'll talk a little Big 12 and college football for the 2025 season. David Smoke's going to join us next from 365 Sports right here on Jocks 94.5. One of the top shows I love going on when I am blessed to given the opportunity to go visit with the fine folks down in the great state of Texas with David Smoke, Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina. They just do a fantastic job, 365 Sports. And David Smoke is kind enough to spend a couple minutes with us here in the Deep South on Jocks 94.5 and across the great state of Alabama. David, welcome to the program. I hope things are well in Waco, Texas today.
Well, I was just talking to the young lady that called me, and that you guys got what we got yesterday, which was, I don't know if it was torrential there, but wow, when the rain starts going sideways, that's what we got for a long time yesterday. And I know it's great. We could always use the rain as long as it's not too much, but everything's great. Everything's a beautiful day today.
Wonderful. Well, listen, we're already counting down until we get to go to Atlanta and go to SEC Football Media Days. And I know you guys spend a great deal of time just talking college football in general, but I want to start with the Big 12 as Brett Yormark has really transformed this conference and done a lot of really positive things. Just your thoughts on Brett Yormark and what he's been able to do the last couple of years, trying to get this conference back going in the right direction, especially with all the expansion.
You know, there was that transition of when all hell broke loose in July of 2021, Bowlesby was the commissioner. And I thought that even though he took a lot of heat because he obviously wasn't paying attention or he didn't have enough people paying attention to Texas and OU leaving, which shook the conference, that he reacted pretty well with what he did to at least maintain something. And then Bowlesby came in with that tough kind of that street mentality. And I think he's done a really good job. There have been some things. I think most Big 12, whoever covers them, or even if you want to ask fans or whoever else, there were a couple of things back when, all this push towards increasing the college football playoff, the expansion, and the automatic qualifiers and this and that. And I think a lot of people, the only thing that Yormark has done that didn't make sense, or at least was not popular, and it was mainly because they didn't have much choice, was saying, we'll let the Big Ten and the SEC dictate the terms going forward. And that's kind of like a give up. Even though we understand there's two big 800-pound gorillas, I think that's about the one thing, in my opinion, that some people went, wait a minute, this guy's supposed to be street smart, whatever. But sometimes you can be street smart, you can be tough as hell, but you also know exactly what's being, like what's staring you in the face.
What was maybe the biggest surprise to you, David, with the addition, and I know that it's been a couple of years with the Big 12, the addition of some new member institutions, but the loss of Texas and Oklahoma and some of the other teams emerging on the Big 12 front? What was the biggest difference, do you think, from either you from a personal or professional standpoint, or a lot of your subscribers, what they thought last season?
They've had, there's 16 teams. 8 of them are new, basically, over the last couple of years. The first was the reaction to Texas and OU, and there were a couple of other schools that might have been on that radar that weren't available, that weren't available at the time. Like, obviously, they would like to have seen a Colorado, Arizona State, whoever, but they weren't available. Utah. Those guys looked like they were just going to be fine in the Pac-12, but I think that there were a couple of other schools. I think they got the 4 schools right. There were some, maybe, wait a minute, Houston, are they, because they've had some issues, but that president there has done a great job of helping them be part. I don't know if it's R1, AAU. I never dealt with that because I was never at that academic level, but they did a great job of stabilizing that school academically and has given them a vision. Houston was one that initially people were like, wait a minute. UCF to me made sense, but they also need to continue to improve. Cincinnati was coming off, the year or two before that run into the playoff. And then BYU made all the sense in the world. I've always thought of them as whatever that term might be, autonomous 5 or power 4, whatever it is, that made sense. Here's what I do know. They reacted with what was available. Memphis, there was always the thought that Memphis, right there in your backyard, was somebody that might have been involved in maybe that next level. There was obviously the Boise State factor. They weren't ready. They admitted that. They needed to improve their stadium. Memphis just had, I think they had a lot of moving parts when it came to the administration, and they just weren't ready to maybe pull the trigger. And then by the time they probably wanted to, that timeline had passed. Listen, they know who they are. There might be some fan bases, media, whoever, that want to act like they're bigger than they are. But the Big 12, if you look at who they've added, 2 clumps of 4, they pretty much have what they needed. Oregon State, Washington State wasn't a part of that. They weren't a part of it during the second move, so they weren't going to be a part of it when the first time they moved. But they reacted fast enough to Texas and OU, because remember, guys, that knocked everybody on their you-know-what. I think it even surprised people at Texas and OU that might not have been involved in some of the decision-making. It floored every single team in the Big 12. I've had ADs, presidents, coaches that after Texas and OU walked out, or that story was that they weren't, that story was broken by Brent Zerneman of the Houston Chronicle, that everybody, all the remaining teams, 8 teams in the Big 12, either didn't sleep that night or woke up the next day going, like, you ever seen that meme where I think it's Will Smith looking inside big old house and there's nothing there, no furniture, no people? They were scared. And I don't want to say they were petrified, but I think everybody was like, oh, my God, what next? And the Big 12 they haven't been a cat with 9 lives, but they have been through Nebraska, Colorado, Missouri, A&M leaving. And Nebraska, Colorado, you kind of could see that coming. The A&M thing was right after Big 12 Media Days, that 2000, I think, in 11 or 12, and next thing you know, they're gone. So they have been blindsided, and they have reacted well enough to keep them, at least to me, stable. We just don't know where it's going to be when the next TV contracts come running around and how that works out.
We're talking to David Smoke from 365 Sports, who joins us here on Three Man Front on the Higginbotham Hotline. All right, so David, let's talk brass tacks when it comes to the college football playoff. Brett Yormark, Jim Phillips, they've been very outspoken. Any opportunity when the media asks them their opinion of the automatic qualifiers, the SEC and the Big Ten potentially, they could flex their muscles in 2026. Mm-hmm. What are you hearing out west in regards to where the Big 12 is going to posture themselves to either try to block what Sankey and Petitti are trying to do, or where do you see this ending up when it's all said and done?
I still think that I think Ross Dellinger had a story perhaps about a week or so ago when they met all the college football playoff, I guess you could say, committee met, not because of like rating teams or anything like that, but because of moving forward with expansion. I think that I kind of would not have been a surprise if the word came out that, okay, we're moving to 16, we get 4, they get 4, they get 2, and maybe if you're lucky you get 1, whatever. But that didn't happen. And Ross put a note in there that means there might have been a little bit of pushback. Now, can you push back if you don't have the power, the weapons to push back? Sure you can. You could stand your own ground. You probably respect somebody that does that. And so I still think that's going to happen. I just hope, in my opinion, because here's my deal. I know what the SEC has. Everybody does. And the SEC tells you that. The Big Ten, they're on a run with Michigan and now Ohio State, plus others are playing really well, whether Penn State, Oregon, maybe USC again. I don't know. But I don't want to see a conference laid down. What will they lose to push back? If they're only okay. The one thing is, and my son Craig is the one that brought this up, one of the co-hosts. Dad, you do understand mathematically, getting one team in a 12-team playoff, percentage-wise, is less than getting 2 in a 16. It's like 0.08% compared to 0.12%. So at least if you get 2 out of 16, you double what you have. It is a little bit of a slightly higher percentage, but and if that happens, that happens. I still would fight for it. The other thing that kind of bothers me is when you hear, well, it's going to based on attendance or based on recent playoff success. No championship ever, not in any professional sport, never in any NCAA sport, in any Little League sport, should anyone get something the next year because of what they did the year before. Should have nothing to do with it. Every year you wipe the slate clean, you turn the page, it's a new chapter. Everybody fight for what they feel like they can get and what they get. I do think in the end it's going to be a little bit of a modification from the 4-4-2-2 whatever 1-1 with the independent and G5. I think it'll be a little bit different, but in the end we know that pretty much half the field will be a part of the SEC and the Big Ten. I hope that makes sense the way I explained that.
That certainly does. David Smoke joining us here on Three Man Front. All of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. I do want to go Baylor specific. We're going to see Auburn and Baylor in the matchup with the Tigers and the Bears to start the college football season. I do want to get your thoughts on that game, but namely Dave Aranda, head coach at Baylor last year, had a bit of a bounce back year, going 8-5. How hot is the seat entering 2025?
I think it's cooled down dramatically. Now, at this time last year, man, you had that 12-2 team his second year, the year after COVID, that was among the top 5 best teams in the country. Beat Ole Miss down at the Sugar Bowl. They were really good. I mean, they were good. And I think they ended up ranked like number 5 in the country. The next year, they started pretty well, and then they just collapsed. And then following that, 3-9, there were a lot of people murmuring, like, what's going on? It all depends. I thought, first of all, Mac Rhodes cannot get emotional. ADs cannot allow things to get emotions to get in the way of tough decisions. And they started on, I think it was 2-4 last year. That is as hot as a seat could possibly be, unless they had been 2-5, 2-6, whatever. But they turned it around. They ended with great momentum. They did lose to LSU. It was a pretty competitive game, but being competitive is not enough to scratch the itch. But I think right now he is in a really good spot. His name has not been brought up in anything that I've seen when it comes to the hot seat. I think he's in a pretty good position. They've got the quarterback who's really salty and Sawyer Robertson back. They retained a lot of their roster. They had few people come after Robertson and Josh Cameron, the receiver, a few people on defense. They were able to retain all those guys. They lost one name that of interest, a defensive tackle that's going to play at Florida, Brendan Bett, who played locally just down south in Killeen near Fort Hood. But they were able to retain everything. People came after them, just like people came after TCU's Josh Hoover or Avery Johnson at K-State. All those teams were able to retain the quarterback. I think the expectations are I think 8-5 this year would be a disappointment, but I don't think right now there's any kind of a hot seat for Dave Aranda.
David Smoke joins us for a few more moments from 365 Sports. You can see him every afternoon there on YouTube. Great show there at 365 Sports. All right, David, I have to ask you this in regards to the Big 12 Conference. Already looking at some preseason thoughts and predictions for the upcoming season. Texas Tech, BYU, Arizona State was the surprise last year. On your radar, personally, who do you anticipate might be that surprise team or two that we need to pay attention to on this side of the Mississippi River?
It's a great question because one thing about the Big 12, they are going to have somebody be Arizona State this year. Like you said, somebody's going to be BYU as a team that was kind of being slept on. The year before that, in 2021, it was Baylor. Nobody thought 12-2 was anywhere possible. 22 was what? TCU plays in the semifinals and beats Michigan. Nobody thought that was happening. And then, last year, you're talking about Arizona State. One of the things about this conference, 2 or 3 teams you think are going to be good or not, like last year, Utah was a mess. Oklahoma State, an absolute mess. I almost don't want to fill out a media poll this year because I know I'm going to be wrong.
Right.
I mean, I absolutely – and the transfer portal has a lot to do with that. And the other thing that has a lot to do with that, now when Texas and Oklahoma were a part of the Big 12, OU had a run where they were always going to be involved. Rarely were they not going to be involved in playing for a Big 12 championship. Texas went through 8 to 10 years where you never knew about them. They could be 5-7, they could be 8-4, but they really never. They played, I think, OU one year in the Big 12 championship game and lost. But there's no alpha name. There's no logo. With all due respect to the teams you mentioned or the teams I could mention, with all due respect to how Utah was good in the Pac-12 for a good stretch, or Arizona State last year, or anyone, there is not really a logo, if you know what I mean, that you kind of like is the anchor of the conference, which is good, and then it can be bad because sometimes. Well, I mean, it must not be a very good conference because Texas didn't win it. They must not be very good if they don't win it, or Oklahoma doesn't win it. There's no respect for those who do. I think TCU was 9-4.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're coming off. I think they're going to have really. They really had a. We just had Sonny Dykes on this week. I think Hoover, the quarterback, is special. I do think that you'll have. I think you're going to have 5 or 6 teams. They're going to be in that 9-3 type regular season record, I don't see anybody capable of going 11-1 or 12-0. I don't. And I think that's out of respect that there's a lot of pretty good teams. We don't know if there's a great team. Arizona State almost was, but they gave up that 4th and 13 pass to Texas. And those are the games, guys, the Big 12, they have to win those games. They don't have many of them in front of them, but if you get in that position, you have to make a play and beat Texas, and that's a huge win for the conference. They don't have too many of those. TCU beat Michigan. That was wonderful for TCU in the conference, and then they got splattered by Georgia. Nobody remembers TCU beat Michigan.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers 65-7 or whatever when they lost to Georgia. I'm not dancing around it. I do think Oklahoma State and Utah both will bounce back this year, and if that's the case, this thing could be a dogfight with teams with 2 and 3 losses playing for the Big 12 championship.
Great stuff, as always, from David Smoke. Have a great show this afternoon, David. Look forward to catching up with you very soon.
You too, guys. Thank you so much for the invitation. Have a great year. Can't wait for us to get through those media days and end the season.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Thank you, David. That is David Smoke joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. More three-man front on this Thursday. This is Jonks 94.5.
$12.52, three-man front. Love the conversation with David Smoke. Also, early in the program, Rob Pate, Rodney Orr, Tighter Insider, and in the first hour, hey, always fun, especially today. Conversation with Scott Hamilton talking North Carolina. If you missed any portion of the program each and every day, you can find it there at Three Man Front in our podcast at jocksfm.com. We appreciate our listeners in Montgomery, in the Montgomery area, also up in North Alabama, and those of you watching on Jocks TV via YouTube. We do have day baseball going on. No big surprise for Pat. Rain delay, bottom of the fourth inning between the Reds and the Cardinals. The Reds leading 2-1 in that one. Chicago Cubs leading. Sorry, Pat. It's just the way the scores read. Cubs leading the Pirates 3-2 as they play in the bottom of the fifth there. No score between the Snakes and the Mets. The Snakes are actually beat the Mets. One of the few times the Mets have lost yesterday. No score in that one. Middle of the third, Rays leading Kansas City 1-0. Also, the Guardians on top of the Twins 1-0 as they have played 2. But it's that rainy time. I don't know. We get the Braves and the Dodgers starting tomorrow for that series after the Braves absolutely looked like the Braves at the beginning of the season yesterday.
Yeah, not a good outing against the Rockies.
Three hits.
Sale looked good. Best he's looked probably all season. First time he's pitched and gotten an out into the 7th inning.
He got double-digit strikeouts, which we hit on our prize picks, which was great.
Yep.
But the Braves lost. Ozzie Albies, man. Something is going on. I don't know if it's just age that's starting to get him. What is it? How old is Albies? Because I remember him when he was...
You got me.
21, 22, and they signed him to, and it was a really sweetheart deal. But right now he's hitting like 230, and just some of the at-bats he's putting together.
He's 28.
Good. He's 28?
Mm-hmm.
That's really old, though. For a guy who's been playing since, what? He's 20 every day? The major league level? 20, 21, somewhere in there, I'm guessing. I know I'm the Braves fan. I'm supposed to know this, but I'm just throwing it out to you. He's got to get things fixed.
He was called up in 2017.
Okay. So yeah. Right around there. Ronald Acuna is coming back though, and hopefully get Spencer Strider back. You still don't have Ray Lopez, who has been out. So the Braves try to figure some things out and exact some revenge on those hated Dodgers starting tomorrow night there at Truist Park. How about our friends at Stark Exterminators? We know that now that April has passed and we're in the first day of May, you've got grass that hopefully is popping up, maybe some weeds, but also you're noticing bugs, hopefully not inside of your home or your place of business, but got a great solution. If you've been looking for a great service that can come and take care of all of your needs when it comes to pest control, you can do it with our friends at Stark Exterminators. Stark Exterminators, they've been family owned for over 61 years. 100% of your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. You can call today, and they're offering a free home or business pest inspection, 855-STARK now, or go to starkexterminators.com. One of their great team members is going to come to your home or your place of business. They're going to go through it like they did with us 3 years ago. In our bathroom, we were having ants come through the bathroom. Like, what is going on? And Liam, the great just team member, said, hey, look, don't worry about the ants. I'm going to take care of this. Let's address some of these other potential problems you have. We've been happy ever since. Stark Exterminators. Call today for the free home or business pest inspection. 855-STARK now, or go to starkexterminators.com. When you do so, tell them Landrum from Three Man Front sent you.
Our poll question of the day is holding firm at 65%. 65% of you say that the one gorilla, would beat 100 men in hand-to-hand combat.
The one gorilla?
One gorilla, 100 men. The one gorilla, 65% of you say will beat the 100 men.
What about 100 Jordan Hudsons?
That's not even a fair fight.
That gorilla would be eating out of her hand. 1 o'clock, 3-man front here on a Thursday. It was rainy and windy. Now it's breezy and sunny. But I think storms expected to be in and around. It is a weather-aware day here for the next few days, and really this time of year. We know it here in the Deep South and in this part of the country. You need to be very vigilant because the weather can change at any time, especially severe inclement weather. So stay alert, but hopefully in the meantime, the skies stay clear and you can enjoy some fun times outside. You know what's also fun? Winning. Prize Picks. Prize Picks is so wonderful. I told you yesterday, I went with Chris Sale. I talked to Conrad about it. He wasn't so sure about it, but went over 7.5 strikeouts, more than 7.5 strikeouts for Chris Sale. He got in double digits versus the Rockies. It's 2-player projections, and all you have to do is get 2 right, and you're a winner. Prize Picks. This is what you do first. You download the Prize Picks app. You fill out all of your information. You put in promo code WJOX. When you do so, your first $5 entry, win or lose, they're going to kick back $50 instantly to your account. WJOX. You got to enter that promo code. Once you have your first $5 entry, win or lose, $50 instantly to your account. So they're incentivizing you to play. And I'm going to play today, and I'm going to go Major League Baseball. This one for Molly's benefit and some people here in the state, former Springville Tiger, Auburn Tiger, Casey Mize. He toes the rubber tonight as they're on the road taking on the Anaheim, LA County, Orange County Angels of Ron Washington. Casey Mize, 4.5 strikeouts, more or less. I'm going to go more than 4.5 strikeouts for Casey Mize and the Tigers tonight. Molly is nodding in agreement. Justin Verlander, he's not the same Justin Verlander, but he's at home tonight as he pitches for the Giants now, and they take on the Rockies. Enough said. Player projection, 6.5 strikeouts. I'm going to go more. Justin Verlander, this is the time to get your confidence back up. Justin Verlander, more than 6.5 strikeouts. If I hit both of those player projections, I'm a winner. You can be a winner too. We appreciate our friends at Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. Millions of members. Prize Picks made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less from those 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. We appreciate our friends at Prize Picks.
It's never too early. Joe Lenardi has already got his bracketology out. First one.
Are we getting 20 teams in from the SEC?
13.
Huh.
That'll do.
We're slipping.
Just right now, who do you think the number 1 seeds are? And by the way, there's no SEC number 1 seeds.
Okay. Number 1 seeds. Let's go Duke.
Houston. Purdue.
Landrum is feverishly writing these down.
So you're going Purdue?
Yeah.
Michigan State.
Duke. Houston.
Sweet.
Purdue. St. John's.
You were close.
What?
You got 2 of them?
Yeah,
You said Purdue.
I did.
Yeah, Purdue. How was Michigan State close?
No, I meant like our guesses.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
What?
You did a lot better at that. I'm already football brain.
The highest seed, according to Joe Lenardi from the Southeastern Conference, will be the Kentucky Wildcats. They will be a 2 seed.
They've invested. They've done well.
Mm-hmm. 3 seeds from the SEC include Florida, Tennessee. 4 seeds would just be Auburn. 5 seed, Arkansas. 6 seeds would include Missouri, Alabama. 7 seed, Mississippi State. 8 seed would be Vanderbilt in Texas. 9 seed would be Oklahoma, Georgia. And then coming in at an 11 seed would be Ole Miss. So there's your 13 Southeastern Conference teams.
And without you going back through it, I'm trying to remember who was not of those 13.
LSU.
That would have been 14th last year. No,
South
who would have been
Carolina.
that 14th team? Texas?
Texas is an 8 seed,
Okay. Texas A&M?
is not listed.
Huh.
So
There you go,
There it
Bucky.
is.
so Bucky is not in the big dance, according to Joe Lenardi.
Well, I know that he has been busy like all these other coaches of going and trying to fit guys and his system and what he needs to make it work. And evidence of that was at Samford, what he did at Mountain Brook. I realize we're talking about the SEC, but don't sleep on Texas A&M and what Bucky can put together. And maybe it's some of these national transfer portal college basketball analysts that are very good at their jobs, but some of the guys he's going out and he's getting, maybe they're not as high on the radar. A lot like one of the publications, I won't call them out, but they wanted to take a big old deuce on UAB's recruiting class and what Andy Kennedy's brought in. And I'll go on record and I say I think that Andy Kennedy has done an incredible job, and you're going to be excited, Blazer fans, about this team next year. But they also took a big deuce on Memphis, and so don't always take into account what some of these services are telling you about.
So you think of the historic season the SEC had in basketball this last year, 14 teams making the NCAA tournament for most of the season. There was always a debate. Okay, how many number ones are we going to get? We're going to get 2? Could we get 3? So this next year, according to Joe Lunardi, there will not be a single number 1 seed from the Southeastern Conference.
That's fine. That's the way we like it, right?
But 13 teams. We'll take that.
Yeah.
14 to 13.
Well, we had so much number 1 this year when it all came down to it. Next year is not the year for chalk. Next year we're back to chaos.
I have an update on our favorite hockey team that we adopted here on Three Man Front.
The Snow Salt Sasquatch.
The Utah Hockey Club. A little bit of controversy this week. The Utah Hockey Club officials wouldn't confirm it, that Mammoth is their new name. And the reason why is because it allegedly leaked out on the team's official YouTube channel Tuesday night. Oops. Now, see, if Jordan was in charge of their social media and marketing, that would not have happened.
That's not happening.
No, it is not. The channel's handle was changed from @Utah Hockey Club to @Utah Mammoth on both its landing page and URL. The channel was then soon deactivated, so it's believed that the revelation of the team's new name and logo could come before the NHL draft, which is slated for late June. Utah Mammoth was one of the 3 finalists featured in a fan vote at the Delta Center to help determine the permanent name of the team.
Maybe you or maybe Molly, that's the better pair. Do you think that was an example of somebody from the team just trying out to make sure that they could use the name, or that the name worked, or it wasn't already taken? They entered it in, they hit post, and then they quickly just took it down, or they were told to take it down?
I think it was just probably one of those, okay, hey, let's see if this works.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And they didn't realize that somebody would be paying attention.
Be looking.
And at that particular time, just like we always say, that just because you post something on Twitter and then you delete it doesn't mean that somebody hasn't already captured it and done a screen grab. We've seen countless examples of that. And so obviously somebody was paying very close attention to the Utah YouTube page for their hockey team. And they did oops, and they changed it to Utah Mammoth. And then once it was realized, they quickly pulled it.
I don't watch a whole lot of hockey. We went through this when United States had their deal with Canada.
They got robbed.
The 4 nations.
They did get robbed.
They got robbed. It's bad officiating.
We'll get it back.
Yeah. Bad ice.
In other ways. Yes. Bad ice. I agree. I don't watch a whole lot of it. But now with this buildup of just the team name for this franchise, I'm going to watch Utah hockey. I'm vowing to you. I will watch it.
Are you going to buy the center ice package?
Absolutely not.
So you're not going to go that all in?
No, not that all in.
Will you buy a Utah Hockey Club or Utah Mammoth sweater?
I thought you were going to say sweatshirt. Sweater?
No, sweater. That's what they
the
wear.
Hockey sweaters, yeah.
Molly's got a Detroit Red Wings.
And a Preds one as well.
Oh,
have you worn the Pred ones?
Not yet.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
This is the jersey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's
they
sweater.
call it sweaters.
Yeah. It's like in soccer, it's the pitch, not the
No,
field.
if I'm going to buy a jersey, it's going to be a Braves jersey. And I have several of those.
Do you own an NFL jersey? Oh, you got a, don't you have a, no.
I got a Larry Bird jersey from when I was a kid.
You don't have a Steelers jersey, though.
I don't.
Oh, yeah, you've got that female sweater you wear that's got that.
You said it looks cute on me.
Well, you've gained a few pounds,
Yeah.
so it
Shows
doesn't
my-
look as good
my
as it
hips.
used to.
It's my hips. That's where it all goes. No, I will not buy a sweater.
And the one thing is because he would be bankrupt, Molly, because as long as I've known Landrum, it's like every single year there's a new NFL team that he is rooting for.
Oh,
When I first met him, it
it's
was
not.
like it was the Carolina Panthers.
gotcha. So who is
So
it now?
full disclosure and I'll pull the curtain back on the show. In the early days, we did have some diehards, and it was like Landrum pick a team, and I was like, I really don't have an NFL team.
Mhm.
Got a Major League Baseball team. I've never been a Falcons fan. I mean, the Falcons are fine,
Right.
but never been a Saints fan, and so I adopted the Carolina Panthers. Okay, but then through getting married, my wife and her family, through the Roethlisberger and the family history and all that stuff, they were Steelers fans. But then I went with my buddy to Green Bay, so now I just have an appreciation of certain franchises,
That's kind of how I am.
and I'll pull for them.
Yeah, no, obviously I'm a Lions fan, but I also lived in Nashville, so I'll pull for the Titans. But I'm with you. I kind of have an appreciation for all the teams and certain players that I like to cheer for.
There
as
is
well.
only one sports team, and that's college or pro, that I still will get fighting mad over, and that's the Atlanta Braves. I can't change that. That's
Yeah.
just who I am.
That's okay.
That's who you are as a Cardinals fan. You still get fighting mad.
I remember those days.
You remember those days. Have you just given up now?
No, I haven't given.
I know.
I watch them all the time.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great.
And I do. You know
with
how
the
many
Tigers.
times though already this season it's been your voice inside of my head going, "Hey, marathon,
See,
marathon,
It's-
man."
It is.
But I still got so worked up yesterday.
I mean, think about this. We had won.
Losing to the Rockies.
We had won 2 games the whole entire season on the road until yesterday, and we swept a doubleheader on the road. So we just doubled
Yeah.
our win total on the road for the 2025 season in one afternoon. That's also exciting and sad all at the same time.
By the way, breaking news: no sounder needed. Mike Trout's hurt again.
Yeah, I saw him when he was running out a ground ball, and his when he came down on the corner of the base, you could tell his knee kind of did a hitch. Did they put him on the IR, or he's just out today?
He's out. Just turn him out of time. The only reason I really care is because
Prize Picks.
Well, that not so much that, but the little church baseball.
Oh, the fantasy, yeah.
league that I'm in.
Yeah.
Actually won last week, and now Trout's out. But I was kind of expecting it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of time with him.
Yeah, it did not look like something serious.
No, it looked like it's just a strain.
Yeah, he hit the bag kind of awkward as he was trying to beat it out. So
Do you like I'm watching more college baseball now that we've gotten into the later part of the conference race and getting ready for Hoover, which I'm really excited about with the new format and the new edition. Everybody's going to be here. But the green bases, they don't bother me anymore.
they don't bother you?
Mm-mm.
Just remember that when you're on first base and you go sliding back into the bag, that part of the bag is not in play.
I've talked to a couple of college baseball coaches think it's the stupidest thing they've ever seen.
I don't like it.
So do you have to go back to original bag? But I mean, the whole reason was a safety deal, right?
Yeah, safety. You're running out.
Yeah.
A play at first base, but no. I mean, if you're leading off and then you're sliding back to the bag, and then let's say you go over the top of that bag, but you're holding on to the second
the
one.
green one.
No, that one's
Doesn't count.
null and void. Now, there's plenty of videos that has taken place in college baseball this year where a player has, you walk it up, you slide back and then you keep your hand on the bag and you walk up. And this one individual walked it up, but unfortunately he had his foot on the other bag, and the first baseman kept the ball and the tag on him the whole entire time. And the umpire's like, "You're out."
It would just, and especially because you still actively umpire,
Yeah, got 2 tonight.
that would take some getting used to.
We don't-
On a
we-
bang bang play?
Yeah, we don't have those.
Oh, I know. But can you imagine?
Yeah.
They'll be coming. They'll be coming to every youth league.
Yeah,
very,
all you gotta
very
use
soon.
use the word safety.
That's it.
And
That's it. Johnny and Janie. Heaven forbid we we keep the bases the same that they've been since Doubleday invented the game back in 1801, whenever it was. When was it, Pat?
Alexander Cartwright invented it before the Civil War, right at the Civil War.
And then Doubleday was
Doubleday gets the most credit,
He gets
but
the credit.
Alexander Cartwright was supposedly the first one that actually invented it.
okay. So Cartwright is like Belichick, and Doubleday is like Hudson.
Yeah.
Just comparison.
It's kind of like Edison and Tesla,
Oh,
electricity.
do that deep dive.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's a mess. We'll take your calls.
Shark eaters.
The text line is wide open. We'll have a special guest coming up at the bottom of the hour. This is Three Man Front, Jocks 94.5. .120 Jocks 94.5. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Eli Craner is going to join us. Talk about an upcoming football novel he's got coming out later this summer. Your calls next at 1-800-239-WJOX.
Well, if you're looking for a way to celebrate your mom this Mother's Day, you can celebrate her love, strength, and beauty with a lasting piece that she will cherish for a lifetime and even pass it down to your children at Diamonds Direct. Whether her style is classic, modern, or somewhere in between, you will find the perfect piece from her for her, from diamond studs to elegant pendants and so much more. Every piece comes with complimentary cleaning, sizing, and repairs, Plus, if you book an appointment, you'll get $100 off your purchase. Like I said, this is at Diamonds Direct, so shop for all of your Mother's Day needs.
All right, let's get to the phones. 1-800-239-WJOX on this Thursday.
Let's go to our buddy Dave. He's in Hoover. Hey, Dave.
Hey, guys. I'm headed to Tuscaloosa to go see Trump's commencement tonight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Jackson, my son, called last night and said, hey, I got 3 tickets. He'll be going out with the graduates.
Are you wearing your MAGA hat?
My daughter's got a couple at her apartment, so I got to go pick her up at her apartment. Then I got to go to his apartment, and we're going to Uber over there. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a big nightmare, I imagine, because they said doors open at 3, but you have to be in the auditorium by 4:15 the latest. And he comes out at 6:30.
Well, yeah, that was my next question is what time was the president supposed to speak? So I just didn't know how long you were going to have to sit there.
Yeah, they didn't make that announcement until 4:30 yesterday is when he got the email for security reasons. They waited until last minute. We knew it was going to be at night at some point, but not exactly sure what time. But, so we'll see. But I'm sure parking's going to be a nightmare. I'm sure they're expecting protests, all kind of stuff. So, but we'll see.
The protest is, I dealt with that at the Final Four. Just, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Hey, Fan, I was going to ask you, so am I hearing this right? College baseball has gone to 2 bases like softball?
Correct.
Yes.
So, for how many hundreds of years, that's what that box is.
Right.
I won a couple of games because I protested a field to call the field. It was a bunt. The catcher came up. The runner was running in fair territory.
Correct.
The catcher threw the ball over his head to right field. They called the runner out. If those runners will run where they're supposed to run, you won't need a second base.
Isn't that crazy?
That box in foul territory.
That's right.
We've been doing it for 100 years, and all of a sudden now it's a problem.
Yep. It's about safety, Dave. You know that.
It's about safety.
Well, I love getting on umpires. I go and argue with them. They say, I didn't blow that call. I said, well, you missed it. Call it what you want to, but I'm getting mad at you because you're out of position to make the right call.
Dave, embrace the green base. Embrace it.
Ain't happening. I don't have to handle it, so I can't even watch the Braves. I'm not paying $15 a month to watch them. They're not good enough. All right, y'all.
Thank you, Dave. Enjoy the president tonight.
I pay more for less entertaining.
Television. When George W. Bush spoke at Craneworks, I was fortunate enough to be part of the group that got to hear President Bush speak. And we literally had to get there so early, and we had already had to provide all of our Social Security, all of our background information that Secret Service had to go through before we could see the president. And we were standing outside because they do multiple sweeps in the building, obviously, before you're allowed in. And we saw Air Force One as we were standing there at Craneworks. And Craneworks is located right there off of Red Mountain Expressway. Yeah. You can't miss it. So we're standing outside and we're watching that. You talking about majestic.
Yeah.
Seeing Air Force One fly in over downtown Birmingham. Yeah. That was pretty special. But yeah, we had to get there hours, just like Dave was talking about.
We did
hours in advance.
And we had a similar thing at the Army-Navy game. We got invited up there, and it was during Trump's first term, and we had to get there extra early to go through the screening process. And so all of the media, you have your bags, and we had less equipment, obviously, than some of the other working members of the media, but putting your bag out there, and they had 3 different teams of dogs. You lay your bag down, they set them in a line, and they come through, and it was pretty intense. No kidding. I had beef jerky in my bag. Now the dog stayed professional, but you could tell the dog was like, all right, there's nothing in here, but is that beef jerky? They were beautiful dogs. And I'm so glad that we have trained animals that can do that to help keep us safe. Let's continue with your phone calls. Let's go to Miles. Hey, Miles.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have a question out of left field, but I respect your opinion on this. So I wanted to ask you. sports media, or just media in general, the generations, let's say, the younger the generation gets, where we are right now, you're seeing so much short form media, TikTok, etc. You're seeing, shorter attention spans. As we go forward, kind of like MLB changed their rules to shorten the games, and they got them down to where they were averaging, I think, 2.5 hours last year. Are we going to see that across the board more in all the different, be it college, professional leagues, to compensate for, younger generations being used to more short form media?
Yes. The very short answer to that question, in my belief, yes, you will, Miles. There's no question. And not to mention the fact that advertisers, they want to be able, or broadcasters, they want to be able to fit it into a smaller window and potentially sell more inside that shorter window. So yeah, just the way that the consumption goes in all forms of media right now, I would be shocked if you would not see leagues try to shorten the activity just to make it more appetizing to the audience.
I did an experiment once where I just kind of looked at the math. I just took college football, for example. And I mean, if they just tweaked a few rules, they could be like college baseball or MLB and average 2.5 hours a game. It's just a little rule tweak here or there. And to a point to where they could potentially actually get 4 games on one network if they tweaked it enough, but I don't know if they want to do that. Let me ask you one more thing as far as what you're hearing, the chatter behind the curtain, so to speak. I'm hearing that it's pretty much understood, even though not officially voted on, that the SEC is going to go to a 9th conference game. And when, maybe in late May, SEC meetings, and when that happens, that is a sign that the SEC and the Big Ten got their 4 automatic qualifiers when we go to 14. And also that is a sign that, is ESPN going to fork over the dough?
Good stuff, Miles. Thank you for the phone call.
First off, that has been the holdup the whole time, that ESPN has been hell-bent that they were not going to pay the SEC one more dime for an additional conference game. And so now, because the SEC and the Big Ten are leading the parade in regards to expansion of the college football playoff in 2026, and they've already voted on giving the SEC and the Big Ten more power in regards to what's going to happen with the college football playoff. So I think the SEC will get those 4 automatic qualifiers, just like the Big Ten moving forward. But yes, Destin meetings will take place. It will start the Tuesday after Memorial Day down in Destin, and that will be the major topic of conversation. Can the SEC get enough votes to go to the 9 conference games? And I firmly believe, based on everything that's going to happen in 2026 with the college football playoff expansion again, I think the SEC at that point in time will vote starting in 2026 to move to 9 games. As of this moment, things can change, but the people I talk to, they firmly believe that that is on the horizon.
We continue. 3-man front on a Thursday. Jocks 94.5.
It is 1:32, Jocks 94.5 on this Thursday. If you missed any of our interviews, Scott Hamilton, Rodney Orr, Rob Pate, David Smoke, you can go and download the 3-Man Front podcast. Molly will have those up and running for you here in just a little while if you want to listen to those interviews in its entirety. Our next interview is with Eli Craner. I'm very, very excited about this next few minutes with Eli to talk about his career, not only as a major college player in the realm of football, but now an award-winning author. He joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Eli, I hope you're doing well on this Thursday. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Pat. Thanks so much for having me, man.
Hey, listen, as I'm sitting here and I'm reading all of your stuff, first off, just an outstanding writer to begin with, but I want to go back to your football playing days in the state of Arkansas. How did you end up being a quarterback at Florida Atlantic?
Well, it always goes back to a coach, right? There's
Right.
always a coach. So we have a university here. It's actually, I serve as the writer in residence. It's Arkansas Tech University, whose mascot is got to be one of the best in the country. It's the Wonder Boys.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a Division II school. And our defensive coordinator on my high school football team had been a coach there right before he came. And one of the guys he coached with, his name was Kirk Hosa. He went down and was being the defensive coordinator at Florida Atlantic. So all that happened like right before it was time for me to start getting recruited. So I had a nice in, to sneak it. And I will say, on that roster, I had a tight end, a guy that ended up playing in the NFL for a little while, Rob Hausler.
Okay.
He was from Texas. And he and I were the only two guys on that roster that I can recall that were outside the state of Florida, just because there was so much talent, right down there.
Going from, I guess that was Russellville High School there in Arkansas, and going to Boca Raton. That was quite a culture shock, I imagine.
It was, and I absolutely loved it. I mean, that was a huge part of why I wanted to do it. I grew up listening to Jimmy Buffett cassette tapes, going to sleep every night. So the Mother Ocean was calling to me.
Right.
But I also just wanted to get out of Arkansas, at least for a little while. And we live here now, and it's our home for sure. But at that point, it was so cool to see all those different cultures and all that slice of the world that I'd never seen before.
Okay, so you go to Florida Atlantic, and then you decide to transfer back to a Baptist university to finish your eligibility. And then from there, kind of take us where the next road led you to. Actually, I guess it was a boat. I guess it was a boat. It was not a road. So tell our audience.
It was a plane.
Okay, a plane.
Yeah.
So tell us where you went from going from FAU to a Baptist University, and then all of a sudden you still want to play football, and you decide you're going to go overseas.
No, I didn't want to play football. I had done my first tackle football season was when I was 9 years old, and I was, however many seasons it was at this point. I played 5 years of college ball, and got to this point, and at this point I wanted to become a writer. I was an English literature major. I was a strange combination. I was a quarterback who was always reading novels in the back of the bus. And there's a guy by the name of Ace Atkins that you may or may not heard of, but Ace played defensive end at Auburn, and was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and he had become a crime novelist. And I'd met him along the road. So I had my heart set on going to Oxford and getting a Master's of Fine Arts in creative writing and studying in the ghosts of Faulkner and Grisham. And I just was dead set on doing this. And I'll be dadgummed if I didn't get it was a Facebook message from a team in Karlstad, Sweden, that was like, hey, it couldn't be more Ted Lasso, kind of sounding stuff, like with just how ridiculous this was. And I went to my mentor, my English professor, guy who really got me into books and wanting to be a writer. And I was like, man, listen, I think I can go to Oxford and do this, or I can go play football in Sweden for a year. And he was like, you go play football in Sweden, that'll happen. So I did. I played a season overseas in Sweden, and it was a blast. I loved it so much I ended up coaching high school football for 5 years. And it was when I got done with all of that, I didn't know what to do. Football had organized my whole life. I just kind of took the same tenacity I had with practice and workouts and all that, and poured it into writing. Started writing about 5 to 7 each morning, which is what I still do, about 2 hours right early in the morning, and did that for about 7 years before the first book got published.
We're talking to Eli Craner. He joins us here on the Higginbotham Hotline, and you have got a book coming out. And listen, you can, as much as you want to tell our audience, because I don't want to give anything away. I mean, it's not the entire plot of the whole story, but your next project that's coming out later this summer, it's called Mississippi Blue 42. Trying to give us the Cliff Note version or the plot synopsis in regards to Mississippi Blue 42.
Sure. So it's a fictional federal investigation into big money college football. That's kind of the
Now, wait a second, Eli. Are you trying to tell us that there's big time investigations in college football? What? This is a fiction, right? This is not a nonfiction.
That's right. Fiction is there's a disclaimer at the beginning of all novels to say, this is a work of fiction.
Gotcha.
And anyway, it centers around a rookie federal agent. Her name is Ray Johnson, and she's a total, like, killing it at the FBI Academy, killing it at Quantico. She's top of her class. She's got all her hopes and dreams going to the Joint Terrorism Task Force, doing big stuff. And as soon as she graduates, she gets stuck on a white-collar crime case, a fraud case in this Mississippi college football town where she's supposed to investigate that university. And she's upset, but she knows why. And the reason why is because her father's a national championship winning coach. And so they think she'll probably know a little something about it, but he's done a pretty good job of protecting her from a lot of that side. So she gets there, and anyway, she's in this town in Mississippi for about 24 hours before stuff hits the fan. And she quickly realizes that the Joint Terrorism Task Force doesn't have nothing on college ball when it comes to So it's a hoot, man. The tone is lighter. We got a great blurb, an early read from John T. Edge, who hosts True South on the SEC Network, and he called it an opera buffa for the Deep South, which I had to Google what an opera buffa is.
That's beautiful.
Which is just it's a comedic opera. And it pulls on all sorts of these different kind of satirical strings that I think you kind of have to pull on if you're going to take on something like college ball. There's so many facets to it.
Well, and talking about those different facets, you won growing up in the South, you playing football from an early age, and you playing high-level football, even overseas. How much from some of your real-life experiences has been injected into this book?
There's, all sorts of things. So, even just the football part of it is huge. There's an old adage in writing and teaching writing and workshops, and that's write what you know. And it's a dumb adage in some ways, because if we all just wrote what we knew all the time, then we'd all just be writing these thinly veiled autobiographies. So you don't have to stick to it like that. But it does help when you can find something that you know. So even just the football, it's been really interesting. Like my publisher and agent and all these people are out in New York City, and they're not big football people for the most part. And so trying to get them to understand, even like the design on the book, there was a couple of places where it's about to go off to print, and they were trying to draw up like plague diagrams, which they have to create organically for copyright purposes, and they would send me these different versions. I'm like, you've got 28 people. Be like, what are y'all doing? It's ridiculous. So it was that part of it really helps. But for me, what this book is, what I tried to do at least, is I feel like in a lot of ways college football is representative of the country.
Right.
I feel like it's a really nice metaphor. And there's a lot of big stuff where they're going on in our country right now, and there has been. And so what I really enjoyed was taking this big world of college football that some readers may be very familiar with, some may not, and using it all kind of like this cool metaphor to tug and twist and talk about all the different things that are going on. So I'm excited about it.
Well, I got to ask you, because most of my family is from North Mississippi. My sister went to Ole Miss, and I'm sitting here looking at the cover of Mississippi Blue 42, and I got to ask you, because it is extremely similar to the powder blue helmets and the wonderful
Mm-hmm.
jerseys that Archie Manning used to wear. Any reason for that? Maybe.
I have nothing to do with the cover design other than making sure they get the football. But I will say this: with the guy who did our cover designs, a guy by the name of Jeff Wong. And Jeff Wong may or may not be familiar with you by name, but I bet you'd recognize his stuff. He used to do a lot of those caricatures for Sports Illustrated. So if you
Oh,
remember, like the
okay.
big MJ bobbleheads and the Clinton bobbleheads with like the saxophone. He even did. There was a 50th anniversary of Sports Illustrated, which was like the Sistine Chapel, where he took all these sports figures. He's this really awesome artist, and so we wanted an image, and you could. I think he nailed it. With the image.
Oh, yeah.
The image on the central part of the book is. It's kind of like Mad Men, if you're familiar with the show, where the guy's falling through the sky. Well, it's a football player, and there's money just blowing off of him.
I'm really looking forward to this. Mississippi Blue 42 by Eli Craner, our guest here on Three Man Front, on sale August the 5th. And it's hardcover. It's also ebook. And needless to say, whether it's Amazon, Target, Books A Million, which is based here in Birmingham, Indigo, bookshop.org, Barnes and Noble, you can get it almost anywhere. And so I know our audience is going to be looking forward to this. This is going to be a great read as we get ready for the start of the college football season. Eli, I can't thank you enough for spending a couple minutes. And is there anywhere else that we need to plug?
Man, there's one thing I'd love to mention.
Sure.
Is, right now, the book doesn't come out till August 5th.
Right.
But if anybody out there is interested, if you are interested and you go, and there's something that Barnes & Noble's doing special for this book, which they're doing signed editions that you can order straight from them, which means that my hand will hopefully be very tired by the time that I finish, and they'll send out these signed editions straight from Barnes & Noble. But even if you don't want to do all that, if you're interested and you want to try and snag a book and you want to go ahead and order it now, that just means it'll ship it to you when it comes out. And that really helps me because it shows those publisher people that, hey, there is interest. Because a lot of people said, they're like, you're never going to get college football people to read a novel. And I was like, well, that you don't know the same college football people that I do.
Exactly.
You're not in the same circle. So,
there's no doubt.
Yep.
And it comes at a great time because August the 5th, you'll have obviously fall camp will be starting around college football. And then so we will have that opportunity to finish Mississippi Blue 42 before the start of the college football season.
Before the season gets started.
Exactly.
Yep. They knew what they were doing.
No doubt. Well, Eli, listen, hopefully you'll come back a little bit closer when the book gets ready to officially be available on August the 5th. But it was great to be able to have you on and talk about your illustrious football career. And now, of course, you have won awards and your novel work is just outstanding. So we appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thanks so much for having me on, that.
Appreciate it. Take care. That is Eli Craner joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. His book, Mississippi Blue 42, will be out on August the 5th. More Three-Man Front on this Thursday. This is Jocks 94.5. Really appreciate Eli Craner joining the show. If you want more information, just do a search on Mississippi Blue 42. Book comes out on August the 5th. A lot of parallels with a lot of Southeastern Conference schools. And just so happens it looks like it's an Ole Miss player on the cover of the book. It's a cartoon.
Not a coincidence at all.
No. Very, very much so. So if you missed any of our interviews today, Scott Hamilton, Rodney Orr, Rob Pate, David Smoke, Eli Craner, you can go back and listen to the 3-Man Front podcast. It'll be me and Molly tomorrow on the show. I know.
We're going to have so much fun.
Yes, Filthy Friday, just me and Molly.
I'm sure we'll have lots of Bill Belichick and Jordan news too.
Oh, yeah. Hope so. We can only hope. Mike Rodak's going to join us as well. He's going to be in studio with us for a couple of hours as we will talk about Alabama. And by the way, he covered Bill Belichick.
He did. Oh, that's true.
For a number of years.
Perfect.
For the New England Patriots. So we will talk to him, Barrett Salee. So we'll have Skip Holtz will join us. Skip normally joins us on Wednesday. So let's talk to Don Don. He's patiently holding. Hope you're well, Don Don. What's happening?
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
We're great. How are you?
I'm good. Explain this, what you were talking about with the new bases in baseball. I haven't seen that yet. Do they not have the little runner's box down to first base anymore?
No, you do. But what Dave was talking about is because, you do have the runner's lane that's in foul territory that runners are supposed to run, and you can't run in fair territory. If not, you can be called for obstruction. Basically, in the college game, to make it more friendly, safety-wise, is that just like softball, softball has at first base, they have a secondary base that's in foul territory. And so, that way the first baseman and the runner will not collide or have a tripping situation. And so they added that in college baseball. Yes.
College baseball too?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, wow. I have not, Pat, I've watched a couple of Auburn games. I haven't seen it yet. And also to my friend, I don't know if you heard it the other night, but me and Jim got into it the other day.
I heard through the grapevine that you guys are not friends anymore.
Oh, no, Pat. I know I've made it on the Fine Bomb show, and he calls me a moron. but you know what he called me, Pat? This will bring back memories for you. Don from downtown.
Oh, my goodness. Don from downtown. One of the all-time legends on our show. Yep.
Yeah, I figured you remember that. My goodness, my friend, that was 25 years ago?
It was a little bit longer than that, but yeah, it's Don was a great caller.
What year did y'all start that, Pat?
We started the Paul Feinbaum show in 1993, and then we syndicated it. We started the Feinbaum Network in 1999, 2000.
Okay, that was Sirius Radio, right?
Well, we launched it throughout the state of Alabama, and then a couple years into it, that's when we went to Sirius XM, along with
I know
our
one thing,
stations
my
across
friend,
the state.
It's been I've had fun with y'all for a long, long time, buddy, and I always appreciate your friendship, sir. You're a good man, Pat.
Well, I appreciate that, Don. Don used to bring me and Paul food from Stakeout up to our radio station.
I got to meet.
Yep.
I even got to meet Phyllis from Bolga and everybody that one day and everything.
Yep, Don.
But, hey, by the way,
Don. Wait, I forgot. I'm going to give you some credit here, Don. Don was in the building when the infamous Shane from Centerpoint and Bobby from Homewood fight that took place.
That was
in our studio.
One of the funniest things I've ever been through. That was the day I met Phyllis.
Yep, sure was. So Don, you've been around for some history.
I have, Pat. Well, thank you very much, Pat. And hey, by the way, before I go, I've gotten to be really good friends with Sheila and Dr. Mel. Those are two great people, by the way.
Absolutely, they are. They're first-class individuals.
All right. Well, thanks, Pat.
Thank you. Take care. Wonderful. Don. Let's go next. Chris joins us on 3-Man Front. Hey, Chris.
Hello. How y'all doing?
I'm good, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Can y'all hear me good?
Yes. Got you perfect.
Okay, awesome, man. Hey, Don, man, it's good to hear you. And yes, I want to agree, man. Sheila is really, really great person. Really, really good people up there. I've met at Social Taco. I've made it a thing to to come up there every Tuesday, and I definitely don't regret that. How are you guys doing today?
We are doing fantastic, and we are so glad that you have been able to come up and witness what we talk about on the air every Tuesday, at how much fun it is, and just good people just sitting around breaking bread with each other. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, it is, definitely. Hey, it's interesting. You all are talking about this the Gorilla versus 100.
Yes,
and it's really funny because just the other day, a friend of mine brought that up to me, and I've been seeing it on social media all over the place. And guys, give me one moment. I'm pulling a Don here, and I'm actually making a delivery. So
that's
hold
okay.
on a moment.
Now we're good.
Hello, ladies. How you doing? Hello. Hey, how you doing?
There you go. Friendly folks. Love it.
Oh, yes. Always very friendly. All right. You're welcome. Y'all take care.
Love it. That's what it's all about.
All right. So, a friend, I was checking that out, and every video I've seen on social media, nobody seems to have hope in humankind, man. That gorilla is
killing everybody. Yeah.
But I feel like, my opinion, I feel like if you come together with a plan, it's 100 people. Yes. Some people are going to take a loss. There's definitely going to be some casualties. But my opinion, I think we can pull it off.
I think we can,
we
too.
got the right people. I think we can pull it off. I vote for the 100 humans, man. That's my bid.
No.
So.
All right, Chris, I appreciate the call. Thanks, man. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Be careful out there as you're making those deliveries.
Yes,
and hope to see you on Tuesday at Social Taco. It's been a great afternoon. Hopefully you have been able to enjoy it as much as we've been enjoying it, bringing it to you. Stay tuned. The Paul Feinbaum Show is next. Tomorrow on the program, Barrett Solis, Skip Holtz, Mike Rodak. Landrum is off to the Beach Volleyball Championships. Conrad is down at the beach, Molly. So you and
On
I.
assignment?
I know. Me and you are the only ones not at the beach this weekend.
I know. I'm kind of jealous. Can we do a 3-man front beach show one of these days?
We should. I hope so.
That'd be fun.
Maybe we can get Social Taco to open up a like a pop-up Social Taco on the beach. That work?
Plenty of chicken feathers for everybody.
Yes. Hope everyone has a very safe afternoon. Be weather aware. Some bad weather here in central Alabama throughout the evening. Stay tuned. The Paul Feinbaum Show is next.